TSAT నెట్వర్క్ 6 వసంతాలు పూర్తి చేసుకొని 7వ వసంతంలోకి అడుగు పెడుతోంది. తెలంగాణ విద్యారంగం TSAT భాగస్వామ్యంతో నూతన శకం ఆవిష్కృతమైంది. తరగతి గదుల బోధనలో విప్లవాత్మక మార్పులు తెచ్చిన ముఖ్యమంత్రి కల్వకుంట్ల చంద్రశేఖరరావు ఆలోచనలకు రాష్ట్ర మంత్రి KT రామారావు ఆచరణలో శ్రీకారం చుట్టారు. విద్యార్థులు విద్యా సంస్థలోనే కాకుండా ఇంటికి వెళ్లిన తర్వాత వీడియో పాఠ్యాంశాలను చూసేలా ఏర్పాట్లు చేశారు. ఇప్పటికే పలు ప్రభుత్వ, ప్రైవేటు విద్యా సంస్థలు, యూనివర్సిటీల భాగస్వామ్యంతో పాఠ్యాంశ ప్రసారాలు నిరంతరం కొనసాగుతున్నాయి. 720 అనుబంధ కళాశాలలు, 86 కోర్సులతో సుమారు 3 లక్షల మంది విద్యార్థులు కలిగిన ఉస్మానియా యూనివర్సిటీ అధ్యాపకుల వీడియో పాఠ్యాంశాలు TSAT ద్వారా విశ్వవ్యాపితమవనున్నాయి. ఇప్పటికే తెలంగాణ వ్యాప్తంగా విస్తరించిన T-ఫైబర్ లో ప్రత్యేక ఛానల్ ద్వారా ఇవి ప్రసారమవుతాయి. సుమారు 40 లక్షల సబ్స్క్రైబర్స్, 20 కోట్ల వ్యూస్, TSAT యాప్, యూట్యూబ్ తో పాటు 17 గిగాహెర్ట్జ్ సామర్థ్యంతో అత్యాధునిక టెక్నాలజీ ఎర్త్ స్టేషన్ కలిగి ఉండి శాటిలైట్ ప్రసారాలు, ప్రాధాన్యత కలిగిన DTH, MSOల ప్రసారాలు అందుకుంటున్న నిరుద్యోగ యువత విద్యార్థులకు OU TSAT ఒప్పందం మరో వరం. అనతి కాలంలోనే OTTలో దూసుకెళ్తున్న ఆహా వేదిక పైన TSAT ప్రసారాల ప్రత్యక్షం అబ్బురపరిచే అంశం. తెలంగాణ IT పురపాలక శాఖల మంత్రి KT రామారావు చేతుల మీదుగా IT శాఖ ప్రధాన కార్యదర్శి జయేష్ రంజన్ సమక్షంలో ఉస్మానియా యూనివర్సిటీ VC D రవీందర్, రిజిస్ట్రార్ ప్రొఫెసర్ లక్ష్మీనారాయణ, TSAT CEO R శైలేష్ రెడ్డి MOUపై జూలై 27న TSAT వేదికగా సంతకాలు చేయనున్నారు.
May I request the technical staff to put on the lights, please? Yeah, can we put our hands together for the efforts which have gone into making these wonderful videos? Usually the technical guys are the unsung heroes around. Now it gives me pleasure to invite the CEO of SoftNet and TSAT Hyderabad, Sri R. Shailesh Reddy Garu, to come out to the dais. He's an alumnus of Usmania University. Really happy, sir. Can you please take over? Now I invite our registrar, Usmania University, one of the chief administrators and strong pillar of support at Usmania University, Senior Professor P. Lakshminarayan sir, to come out to the dais. Now I invite the Honorable Vice Chancellor, Senior Professor D. Ravinder sir, to come on to the dais. Next I invite the CEO AHA, that is Sri Ravikant Sabnavis sir, to come out to the dais. Then I request Sri Jayesh Ranjan sir, IAS Principal Secretary, Department of ITENC, Government of Telangana, to come out to the dais. May I request the members to start felicitating them and giving them the bouquets and the floral invite. Hold your breath, put your hands together as we invite the Honorable Minister of ITENC and Municipal Administration and Urban Development Industries, Sri K. Tarak Ramarao Garu. Good morning, sir. May I request members to invite our Vice Chancellor to first felicitate a young minister and leader, and a shawl as well. Memento. Okay, we will do it in the end. May I request members to give the saplings and the saplings to the other members as well. Now, our chief guest doesn't need any introduction. Sri Kalvakuntla Tarak Ramarao sir is the Cabinet Minister for IT, EC and MAUD and Industries and Commerce Department, is a legislator from Sirsila Assembly constituency, very well read, After completing his MBA in US for 6 years, he worked there, and riding on the keen observation of politics since childhood and global exposure and rich professional experience, he switched on to the bandwagon of full-time politics and played an active role in fruitful phase of Telangana statehood movement. He's got an unflinching resolve, commitment, and inclination to fight for the welfare and the development of the state, and made. Yeah, I think I missed out calling Sitaram Raju, sir, Vice Chancellor of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Open University, to kindly take his seat on the dais here. Welcome you, sir. We have to repeat again about KTR, sir. He's got an unflinching resolve, commitment, and inclination to fight for the welfare and development of the state. Made Sri K.T. Ramarao work with wide spectrum of industry and political leaders in India and abroad. He has provided visionary leadership and put in relentless efforts in reimagining and re-honoring the departments he has assigned. As a Minister for IT, Sri K.T. Ramarao has come up with comprehensive plan to cater to the multidimensional requirements of the IT industry, and has been backed by his dedicated and competent officers and staff. Several initiatives have been launched under his able leadership since 2014. We're really delighted to have you in our midst, sir, and looking forward for your message. And a word or two about a very famous topper IAS officer who's also there in our midst and a good friend of OU on various initiatives, Sri Jayesh Ranjan, sir. He's a member of the IAS from the 1992 batch and is working in the state of Telangana. He holds a master's degree in psychology, and he's an IM grad and a master's in public management from the University of Singapore, and done multiple short-term courses from UK, Tokyo, and received umpteen number of awards, to mention a few. The King of Sweden in 2019 awarded him the Royal Order of the Polar Star, and that's for the way he had gone about when taking initiatives for the IKEA's first Indian store in Hyderabad, and he's been awarded the honorary doctorate from University of Bolton in UK in 2022 for promoting bilateral trade and investments between UK and Telangana. Without much ado, I request the CEO of SoftNet, TSAT Hyderabad, sir, to give your message on this occasion.
TSAT 6వ వార్షికోత్సవానికి విచ్చేసిన మంత్రివర్యులు కేటీ రామారావు గారికి, అట్లాగే ప్రిన్సిపల్ సెక్రటరీ జయేష్ రంజన్ గారికి, ఉస్మానియా అంబేద్కర్ యూనివర్సిటీలకు సంబంధించిన బోధనేతర సిబ్బందికి, TSAT స్టాఫ్కు అందరికీ మరొకసారి 6వ వార్షికోత్సవ శుభాకాంక్షలు. ఈ 6 సంవత్సరాల్లో TSAT ఎదుగుదల ఎంతగా ఉందంటే, దేశంలోనే ఇది ఒక ముఖ్యమైన ఛానల్గా, ముఖ్యమైన ఎడ్యుకేషన్ నెట్వర్క్గా ఎదిగింది. దేశంలో తెలంగాణ TSAT ఛానళ్లకు పోటీగా ఏ రాష్ట్రంలో కూడా ఏ ఛానళ్ళు కూడా లేవు. ఈ ఘనత సాధించింది తెలంగాణ రాష్ట్రం. దానికి మన మంత్రివర్యులు కేటీ రామారావు గారి పాత్ర చాలా కీలకమైంది. ఎందుకంటే 2016కు ముందు మీకు అందరికీ తెలిసిందే, చాలామందికి ఇక్కడ ఉన్న వాళ్ళందరికీ తెలిసిందే, ఉస్మాన్ యూనివర్సిటీ అంబేద్కర్ యూనివర్సిటీ క్యాంపస్లో ఉన్న వరకైతే ఇంకా ఎక్కువ తెలుసు. అసలు ఎట్లా ఉండేది, ఒక బూత్ బంగ్లా లాగా ఉండేది. ఇక్కడ నుంచి వచ్చే ఛానళ్ళు ఎవరు చూసేవాళ్ళు కాదు. రోజుకు గంటనో 2 గంటలు వచ్చేవి. ఆ తర్వాత ఒక స్కూళ్ళల్లో అక్కడ ఆర్ఓటీలు ఉంటే ఆర్ఓటీలు అక్కడ వచ్చేది. అక్కడి నుంచి మంత్రి గారి విజన్ ఏంటంటే, ఇంత పెద్ద ఇన్ఫ్రాస్ట్రక్చర్ ఉండి, ఇంత ఫెసిలిటీస్ మనకుండి, మనం దీన్ని సరిగా వాడుకుంటలేమని ఒక ఆలోచన ఆయన మైండ్లో రావడంతో ఈ రెవల్యూషన్ స్టార్ట్ అయింది. ఈ శాటిలైట్ టెక్నాలజీ ఆర్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఇన్ శాటిలైట్ టెక్నాలజీ అనేది రావడం స్టార్ట్ అయింది. ఆ తర్వాత ఇంకా వెనుదిరిగి చూడకుండా మనం 2017లో దీన్ని TSAT అని నామకరణం చేసుకున్నాం సార్. అంతకుముందు అది మన టీవీ అని ఉండేది. TSAT అని నామకరణం చేసుకున్న తర్వాత ఇక వెనుక తిరిగి మనం చూసుకోలేదు. అప్పటి నుంచి 24 గంటలు వచ్చే 2 ఛానళ్ళు మనకు అందుబాటులో వచ్చినాయి. అట్లాగే మన అదృష్టం ఏంటంటే, మనకు 2017లో మంత్రి గారి ఆలోచన చేసినప్పుడు కోవిడ్ అనేది ఒకటి ఉంటుంది, కోవిడ్ అనేది ఒకటి వస్తుంది, స్కూళ్ళన్నీ మూతపడతాయి, విద్యాలయాలన్నీ మూతపడతాయి, పిల్లలు ఇంట్ల నుంచి బయటికి వెళ్ళరు అని మనకు తెలియక ముందే ఒక విజనరీగా ఆలోచించి 2019 డిసెంబర్ తర్వాత ఎప్పుడైతే కోవిడ్ మహమ్మారి విస్తృతంగా వచ్చిందో, అప్పుడు స్కూళ్ళన్నీ మూతపడ్డప్పుడు TSAT ద్వారా మన తెలంగాణ రాష్ట్రంలోని పిల్లలు ఎక్కడ కూడా విద్యకు దూరం కాకుండా ఏర్పాటు చేసింది TSAT. ఇది ఏ రాష్ట్రంలో కూడా జరగలేదు. మొత్తం 1920 సంవత్సరం 21 సంవత్సరం ఈ 2 సంవత్సరాలు కూడా ఏ రాష్ట్రంలో కూడా ఇట్లాంటి ఏర్పాటు చేయలేదు. తెలంగాణ రాష్ట్రంలో ఉన్న విద్యార్థులకు మాత్రమే ఈ అవకాశం వచ్చింది. అందుకే మీరు ఇచ్చిన ధైర్యంతో 6 సంవత్సరాలుగా మనం అనేక కార్యక్రమాలు చేసినాం సార్. అట్లాగే ఉస్మానియా యూనివర్సిటీతో ఒప్పందం చేసుకుంటున్నాం. అంబేద్కర్ యూనివర్సిటీతో ఆల్రెడీ మనకు ఒప్పందం ఉంది. వాళ్ళ క్లాసెస్ అన్నీ కూడా మన దగ్గర వస్తూ ఉంటాయి. అట్లాగే మనం కాకతీయ యూనివర్సిటీ తోటి ఈ మధ్యన ఒప్పందం చేసుకున్నాం. కాకతీయ యూనివర్సిటీ వాళ్ళ క్లాసెస్ కూడా త్వరలో మన దగ్గర ప్రారంభమవుతాయి. ఇప్పుడు ఉస్మానియా యూనివర్సిటీ తోటి ఒప్పందం చేసుకున్న తర్వాత ఉస్మానియా యూనివర్సిటీ క్లాసెస్ ప్రారంభమవుతాయి. దేశం మొత్తంగా చూసుకున్నట్టయితే శాట్కామ్ ఛానల్స్లో కానీ ఇట్లాంటి ఛానల్స్లో కానీ ఇంత విస్తృతంగా యూనివర్సిటీస్తో పాటు కూడా కలిసి పనిచేస్తున్న ఛానల్ ఎక్కడా లేదు సార్. మనకు పోటీగా కేవలం కేరళనే ఉంది. కానీ కేరళ కూడా కేవలం స్కూల్ వరకే వాళ్ళు పరిమితమైనారు. ఉన్నత విద్యకు మనం పోలేదు. మనం ఉన్నత విద్యకు పోయినాం, టెక్నికల్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్కి పోయినాం. అట్లాగే కాంపిటేటివ్ ఎగ్జామ్స్కు కోచింగ్ ఇచ్చే దాంట్లో కూడా మనం చాలా దూరం వరకు పోయినాం. వారెవరు అందుకోలేనంత దూరం వరకు మనం ఉన్నాం. కాబట్టి వీటన్నిటికీ మీ ప్రోత్సాహం రాబోయే రోజుల్లో కూడా మీ ప్రోత్సాహం ఇట్లాగే ఉంటుందని మేము కోరుకుంటున్నాము. జయేష్ రంజన్ గారు కూడా అనేక రకాలుగా మనకు ఈ 6 సంవత్సరాలుగా ప్రోత్సహిస్తూ వస్తున్నారు. ఇంకొకటి చెప్పాలి సార్, ఈ డిజిటల్ మీడియాలో మనము దేశంలోనే మొట్టమొదటి అని చెప్పుకోవచ్చు. ఎందుకంటే దాదాపు 40 లక్షల రిజిస్టర్డ్ యూజర్స్ మన టీశాట్ యాప్కు కానీ టీశాట్ నెట్వర్క్ కానీ ఉన్నారు. టీశాట్ యాప్ ఒకటి మనం డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకుంటే దాదాపు 30 లక్షల మంది మన యాప్ని డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకున్నారు. దేశం మొత్తం ఎడ్యుకేషన్ కంటెంట్, నాన్ కమర్షియల్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ కంటెంట్ ఇస్తున్న ఏ ఒక యాప్ కూడా ఇంతమంది ఇన్ని డౌన్లోడ్స్ లేవు, ఇంతమంది సబ్స్క్రైబర్స్ లేరు. కాబట్టి ఈ ఘనత కూడా తెలంగాణ రాష్ట్ర ప్రభుత్వం సాధించింది, మీ ఆధ్వర్యంలో సాధించింది. దీనికి అందరికీ టీశాట్ స్టాఫ్ సంతోషం వ్యక్తం చేస్తుంది. మీకందరికీ కూడా ఈ కార్యక్రమానికి వచ్చినందుకు ధన్యవాదాలు.
Thank you so much, sir. Your words and statistics are really inspiring, and we only hope and pray that TSAT goes about with reaching greater heights in the days to come by. And now we have a person who is a mechanical engineer as an academician and registrar as an administrator. And I welcome Sri or Senior Professor P. Lakshminarayan sir to give his message here.
Namaskaram to everyone, and first of all I would like to congratulate the TSAT for celebrating the 6th year anniversary. And today's chief guest, Sri Kalakuntla Taraka Ramavu Garu, Honorable Minister for IT and Electronics and Communication Engineering, Municipal Administration and Urban Development Industries Government of Telangana. And today's guest of honor, Sri J.S. Ranjan Garu, IAS, Principal Secretary, Government of Telangana, and Professor D. Ravinder Garu, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Usman City, and Sitaramarao Garu, Professor Sitaramarao Garu, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Open University, and Ravikant Garu, CEO AHA, and Shailesh Reddy Garu, CEO TSAT, and my dear colleagues and friends. So as all of you know that the Usman University is the oldest university. In 2017 it celebrated its 100 years celebrations, centenary celebrations. And now the Usman University is having nearly 53 departments under 12 faculties, and there are nearly 3 lakh students under the Usman University. This is the largest students community in the world from the Usman University only. And recently, after taking over charge as a Vice Chancellor of the Usman University, Professor D. Ravinder Garu, he made a 21 points agenda. In that, mainly there are 4 points are there. One is a teaching, learning, research and innovations, and infrastructure and outreach program. The first one is teaching and learning. Like Shailesh Reddy Garu just now he told that how to reach to a rural student or a common student when he is unable to come to the college, or when he is absent, whatever the lectures taken in the classes, whatever the lectures or guest lectures or discussions taken in the universities, that should be reached to the corner of every student at home. That is mainly the idea of our Honorable Minister Karmakutla Chandrasekhar Taraka Ramarao Garu, our Honorable Chief Minister Sri KTR Chandrasekhar Rao Garu. With their vision, the Telangana is growing best in academically and educationally. So with the help of this, the TSAT is having a MOU with the Usman City. Sir, definitely we will take up this in future, And we want, our main aim is this should reach to the corner of the Telangana districts. Everyone should know what is happening in the Usman city, and especially in the, through TSAT, not only the conventional degrees, even the professional degrees also. So recently, with the help of our Honorable Minister, Ramarao Garu, so in that, NASCAM also, the manufacturing side also, additive manufacturing, we had a MOU with them. So with the help of your support only, sir, the Usman city is going forward, and we are taking all the corners, whatever the possible, technically, non-technically, and all the people, they should get benefit out of it. So with these few words, I thank you, sir. We need your support in future also, because academically, and we also special thanks to our Honorable Minister Garu for providing a girls' hostel in the Nizam College. And thank you, sir. They are very happy now. In the future also, we request and we need your support for developing this state. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your short and crisp message. Now it's time to listen to the 25th Vice Chancellor of the 106th Usmania University, Senior Professor D. Ravinder, sir.
Good morning to all of you. Gauranilu Sri KT Ramarao Garu, Honorable Minister for Municipal Administration and Urban Development, IT, and Government of Telangana, the proud alumnus of Usmania University, Sri Jayesh Ranjan Garu, IAS Principal Secretary, IT and Government of Telangana, Professor Sitaramrao Garu, Honorable Minister, Honorable Vice Chancellor Ambedkar Open City, Sri Shailesh Reddy Garu, CEO TSAT, Srikant Naha Garu, AHA CEO, our deans of different faculties, principals, directors, and dignitaries of the dais and on the dais. Sir, ఇప్పటికే చాలా వరకు విషయాలను ప్రస్తావించడం జరిగింది. మేము దాని ద్వారా ప్లస్ మరీష్ సార్ గారు కూడా చెప్పడం జరిగింది. ఉస్మాన్ సిటీ A+ NAC గ్రేడ్ ఉన్నటువంటి university, and at the same time the university with the potential excellence, and at the same time the university is also graded autonomy. We got it, sir. And it's the Usman University is the largest affiliating university in the country, and particularly which we are offering almost all 3.5 lakh students which are pursuing undergraduation and post-graduation under the Usman University, sir. So ముఖ్యంగా మేము వచ్చిన తర్వాత గౌరవనీయులు కల్వకుంట్ల చంద్రశేఖరరావు గారు ముఖ్యమంత్రి గారి ఆశీస్సులతోటి ఉస్మాన్ యూనివర్సిటీని ఆల్రౌండ్ డెవలప్మెంట్ చేయడానికి ఉస్మాన్ యూనివర్సిటీలో ఉన్నటువంటి సీనియర్ ప్రొఫెసర్స్ తోటి విచ్ హ్యావ్ కాన్స్టిట్యూట్ ఏ కమిటీ అండ్ టు ఓవరాల్ డెవలప్మెంట్ దట్ నోన్ యాజ్ ది 21-point agenda. The 21-point agenda which consists in the 2021, which is conceived in 2021. So which broadly worked out the 4 broad categories that known as the teaching learning methods. Just now these are also explained. But sir, I think we have introduced a lot of new courses like BE Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning, and also mining courses also which has revived in the Usman University with the support of the Coal India and the Singareni colleges also, which they extended a lot of support to the Usman University. And similarly, sir, BA Honors course in Economics and Political Science also, which were launched particularly because if anyone wanted to study about the honors, they have to go to either Bangalore or Delhi. But whereas we have provided honors course in Usman University, sir. And at the same time, the CDE distance education mode is also almost all the highest number of courses which are offering in Usman University. That's 70 courses. I think while compared with the Sitaramrao Garu, which is largest number courses they're offering in Usman University, definitely this TSAT MOU would help to reach out the unreachable areas, in particular in Telangana. Apart from the Telangana, and our also viewers and the students also coming from the Andhra Pradesh, and particularly some of the US students also, US based and Middle East is also interested to pursue their distance education in Usman University. I think definitely this TSAT MOU which will reach out to the unreachable areas. And at the same time, sir, that Usman University which have taken a very unique decision in the entire country. Usman University is only the university which are offering any graduate from engineering, science and other graduate can pursue any post-graduation courses. I think this is very unique, sir, except only central universities which is offering, but whereas which are offering this kind of a, and most of the NIQ quota also which are enhanced to 20%. because Hyderabad is, as because of you, I think it has become a multicultural center. I think most of the students coming from the different parts of the country, they are also getting to admission in the Usman city with the 20%, which are enhanced from 5%. And similarly, this research activities, I think the Usman University established the TBI with the help of you, sir, and the T-Hub CEO happened to be the alumnus of Usman University, MSR Garu, which have already entered a MOU with T-Hub. The most of the startups also started in TBI, almost all 16 startups already working in the Usman University. And the CFRD is also the Central Facilities Research and Development Center, which has a lot of space, and particularly the science courses and engineering incubations is also started in the CFRD, sir. I think one more important, particularly to encourage our young faculty, particularly from the Usman University, which have created a Vice Chancellor's Award for the best published papers in the Usman University. For that, we are encouraging. I think this is also a very unique program, sir. In entire the country, only Usman University is only having this Vice Chancellor Award for encouraging our own these things, sir. But one more important initiative under the research, sir, the Indo-Pacific Studies. That's the Center for Indo-Pacific Studies. This is inaugurated by the Honorable Vice Chairman Vinod Kumar Garu. I think the Indo-Pacific Studies Center is only the center which is in the entire country apart from the JNU. Only JNU have this Indo-Pacific Center. I think wherever we go, I think particularly in the US and UK and Japan, everyone is interested to work with us on the Indo-Pacific Studies Center. And the Human Development Capital Center also, which have established with the 4 verticals. I think respected Jayesh Ranjan Garu inaugurated this Human Capital Development Center, particularly our students to prepare for the training and placement and the internationalization under that Human Capital Development Center, which is working very well and providing a lot of employment opportunities there. And also we are preparing our students for the Civil Services Academy. I think Usman City established the Civil Service Academy. The former Chief Secretary Garu and other IAS officers also inaugurated. Sir, we are created IETC, that the CEO, the T-Hub CEO inaugurated the IETC Center to Usman University have the separate policy for the IETC in light of that which have created, sir. And at the same time, the earlier Usman University have a data center. But now with the help of the Honorable Minister KTR Garu and Jayesh Ranjan Garu, which all our applications moved to the state data center. The Rajendra Garu is here. I think, in fact, I think it saves the crores of rupees for the Usman University for protecting our all applications under the one umbrella, the state data center. And another feather in the Usman University, that 3D technology printing center, which are also already established under the RUSA, because the Honorable Minister and Jayesh Ranjan Garu, particularly Jayesh Ranjan Garu, on that day inaugurated the NCAM in the Usman University. Now Usman University is the hub for the 3D printing technology and so on and so forth. So similarly, sir, with the help of the Singareni Collieries and the Coal India, established the chair in Usman City. But recently, in fact, the Usman City, which we got the award for the best emerging university in the House of Lords, sir, in the House of Lords in UK. Recently, we got that award. And similarly, in the US, when I met most of the universities and the UK and Japan, where the Harvard University students and faculty members also visited to Usman University and spent almost 1 week in the Usman University and trained the social welfare students, and they also interacted with them. And that's also very positive note which we are working out, sir. Similarly, after 105 years in the history of Usman University, which we have established which have conducted the global alumni meet. In fact, we created the Usmania Foundation under Section 8 company, and most of them also supporting, and particularly for the Usman University, and which have conducted the global alumni meet. Almost all 3,000 alumni attended this Usman University program. And the Usmania, under the outreach activities also, which have conducted Usmania Taksh Under that, the lab to land and lab to product kind of activities also which are organized. And in fact, the Usman City, which is, I think, the phenomenal, the girl students, almost 65 to 70% of the girl students enrolled in Usman City. I think on this occasion, I think I thank Honorable Minister KTR Garu, which has sanctioned to the Nizam College separate hostel for the girls. And similarly, sir also sanctioned 18 crores for the Nizam College boys hostel and the classroom complex also. Sir, in the last, with the support of the Honorable Chief Minister Garu and other ministers and Education Minister, which we have taken up almost more than 100 crores infrastructure facilities, sir. The university is aging, almost all the 40 crores with the two hostels. One is for engineering hostel, one is for the other students, which is coming up very soon. I think by December, these two hostels will come up. And the centenary administrative building also, which laid the foundation with the three ministers, the Honorable Minister for Education and Talsan Srinivas Yadav Garu and Mahmood Ali Garu also came and did it, sir. And at the same time, with the last few years, which we are getting a lot of funds from, particularly from the Honorable Chief Minister Garu, the Finance Minister Garu, and with your help, sir, I think we got a lot of funds, and particularly we have taken up a lot of infrastructure facilities also, and particularly this, finally, I think I thank each and everyone, particularly, sir, for this Shailesh Reddy Garu, because already we initiated this work. I think almost all 758 lessons which are going to air very soon. I think this, the MRC also, which have produced with the 16 centers in all over the country. We are also entering into the MOU with the CEC and Usman City. I think the lot of treasure of information which is going to come into TSAT and Usmania. I think I proudly say that with your support and blessings, the first university, Usman City, which is launching Usmania TV, which are reaching to all over the country and abroad with your help, sir. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Now, 2 years was too many achievements that were there, and he's a workaholic Vice Chancellor who eats, drinks, and sleeps only OU around there. So, thank you so much, sir, for uprising with all the activities that were taken up under your leadership. And now we have the MOU agreement exchange. So, may I invite the teams of OU and TSAT members, which will be formalized by our Minister, Sri KT Ramarao Garu. Yeah, the teams of TSAT and OU together in one frame. I also have some extra work for the CEO of SoftNet, Sri R. Shailesh Reddy Garu, to make an announcement of the TSAT network on AHA it is, OTT. Please, sir.
So very brief on the OTT platform, sir. In fact, TSAT is the only state-run network that is available on the various apps. In fact, we are available on iOS, we are available on Android TV also. We are available on Amazon Fire Stick, Amazon Prime Fire Stick. And now we are the first network in the entire country to enter into the OTT platform. We will be available on AHA OTT platform, which is the popular and only Telugu OTT platform that is available, exclusive Telugu platform available. So thank you, Mr. Ravikant Sabnavis. It's going to Fadnavis, Ravikant Sabnavis, for the support all these days. And I wish to express my gratitude to the Chief Executive Officer of TV9, Barun Das, who has facilitated this arrangement. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
We have the launch of the official Usmania University TV channel, and we declare it open in the midst of the Honorable Minister of ITE&C, Sri K. Tarak Ramarao Garu. Can I have the slide of the live OU channel, please? It will take some time. Yeah. Can we put our hands together? You see in the backdrop what's happening live on the stage here. I mean, there's a delay of a few seconds. Okay. Lights on. And we also have this AHA TV's launch. Okay, yeah, a word or two from AHA TV TSAT Association by Ravikant Sabnavis, sir, CEO AHA.
Honorable Minister, Shri Ramarao Garu, Mr. Jayesh Ranjan, honored fellow guests, Mr. Shailesh Reddy and members of the audience. AHA is deeply grateful to the government of Telangana for having chosen us as a medium to deliver high quality education to the people of the state. We believe that the twin initiatives of TSAT, Nipuna and Vidya are going to be catalysts for change. And therefore, realizing that we have a huge responsibility on our shoulders, our team is working double time to take these two live on the AHA platform. Honorable Minister, sir, we are actually, AHA is doubly delighted that we got a second opportunity to contribute in some way to your government's big vision of development for the state of Telangana so soon after our recent initiative of Nenu Superwoman, which is a show that we launched only last Friday, is a platform for women entrepreneurs of the state to secure funding for their startup dreams from a panel of angels. AHA did this in collaboration with VHub, and this would not have been possible without the efforts of Deepthi Garu and her wonderful team, as well as Mr. Jayesh Ranjan. So thank you very much for that. And you'll be keen to know that up until now, in the last 1 week, we have got 16 out of the 40 entrepreneurs to pitch their ideas, and they have already secured a funding of 5 crores. So thank you all once again from the bottom of our hearts, and we wish this project all the very best. Thank you.
Congratulations, sir, for the official launch and best wishes in future as well. Now it's time to listen to the chief guest address. Can we put our hands together to invite Sri K.T. Ramarao Garu? Please, sir.
థ్యాంక్ యూ. అందరికీ నమస్కారం. గౌరవనీయులు, ఈరోజు ఈ కార్యక్రమానికి మమ్మల్ని ఆహ్వానించిన TSAT CEO శ్రీ శైలేష్ రెడ్డి గారు, అదేవిధంగా ముఖ్యంగా TSAT కుటుంబ సభ్యులందరికీ కూడా హృదయపూర్వకంగా 6వ వార్షికోత్సవ శుభాకాంక్షలు. మీ అందరికీ చాలా గొప్పగా, చాలా అద్భుతంగా పనిచేస్తున్నందుకు మీ అందరికీ కూడా హృదయపూర్వకంగా నా అభినందనలు, నా ధన్యవాదాలు. గౌరవనీయులు, మా ఐటీ అండ్ ఇండస్ట్రీ శాఖ ముఖ్య కార్యదర్శి జయేష్ రంజన్ గారు, అదేవిధంగా ప్రొఫెసర్ రవీందర్ యాదవ్ గారు, గౌరవనీయులు మన ఉస్మానియా యూనివర్సిటీ వైస్ ఛాన్సలర్ గారు, గౌరవనీయులు మన అంబేద్కర్ యూనివర్సిటీ వైస్ ఛాన్సలర్ గారు ప్రొఫెసర్ సీతారామరావు గారు, గౌరవనీయులు ఓయూ రిజిస్ట్రార్ లక్ష్మీనారాయణ సార్ గారు, అదేవిధంగా ఆహా CEO రవికాంత్ సబ్నవీస్ గారు, కార్యక్రమంలో పాల్పంచుకుంటున్న ఓయూ మిత్రులకి, టీశాట్ నుంచి వచ్చేసిన మిత్రులకి, ఇంకా ఇతర పెద్దలందరికీ కూడా హృదయపూర్వకంగా స్వాగతం. మీ అందరికీ కూడా ధన్యవాదాలు. యాక్చువల్లీ ద వెదర్ ఇస్ క్వైట్ గ్లూమీ. బయట చూస్తేనేమో మొత్తం భయంకరమైన వర్షం కొడుతుంది. నేను మున్సిపల్ మినిస్టర్ కూడా కాబట్టి నా మనసు అంతా అక్కడే ఉంది యాక్చువల్లీ. ఎక్కడేమవుతుందో అని అప్పటి నుంచి వచ్చేటప్పుడు కూడా ఫోన్లు మాట్లాడుకుంటూ వచ్చినాను. దీని తర్వాత కూడా నాకు మన డైరెక్టర్ మున్సిపల్ అడ్మినిస్ట్రేషన్ కార్యాలయానికి కూడా పోవాలి. నిజానికి ఈరోజు కార్యక్రమంలో విద్యాశాఖ మంత్రి గారు కూడా రావాలి, సబితా ఇంద్రారెడ్డి గారు. వారు రాలేకపోయారు. వారి తరపున నేనే అటు ఓయూతో ఇటు మా డిపార్ట్మెంట్తో కూడా ఈ ఎంఓయూ కార్యక్రమంలో ప్రభుత్వ ప్రతినిధిగా నేను పాల్గొంటా ఉన్నాను. ఈ సందర్భంగా నేను మీ అందరితో కూడా చేసే విజ్ఞప్తి ఏమంటే, శైలేష్ రెడ్డి గారు చాలా విషయాలు చెప్పారు. శైలేష్కి విశేషమైన అనుభవం ఉంది. గతంలో మనకి చాలా ప్రముఖమైన తెలుగు న్యూస్ ఛానల్స్లో ఒక జర్నలిస్ట్గా, ఆనాడు సీఈఓగా లీడర్షిప్ రోల్లో శైలేష్ గారు ఒకవైపు చేస్తూనే మరొక వైపు తెలంగాణ ఉద్యమంలో కూడా మేమందరం కూడా ఆనాడు వీధిలో ఉన్నప్పుడు మా అందరికీ వెనకాల ఉండి ఊపిరిలూదిన జర్నలిస్టులో మా శైలేష్ రెడ్డి గారు కూడా ప్రముఖులు. అందులో చాలా సందర్భాల్లో చాలా స్ఫూర్తినిచ్చిన సోదరుడు శైలేష్ రెడ్డి గారు. కాబట్టి వారిని ప్రత్యేకంగా ఎంపిక చేసి మీరైతేనే దీన్ని నడపగలుగుతారు. ఎందుకంటే మీకు ఒకవైపు అటు మీడియాలో అనుభవం ఉంది. ఇదేదో తూతూ మంత్రంగా నడిపే వ్యవస్థ కాదు. దీంతో చాలా అద్భుతాలు చేయవచ్చు అని ఆలోచించి అప్పుడు మన టీవీగా ఉన్న ఛానల్ని తీసుకొని కేవలం కొన్ని పాఠశాలల్లో ఒక టర్మినల్కు మాత్రమే పరిమితం ఆనాడు మన టీవీ. ఆనాడు 8,800 గ్రామాలు ఉంటే కొన్ని గ్రామాల్లో టీవీలు పనిచేసేది, కొన్ని చోట్ల పనిచేయకపోయేది. అక్కడ ఒక టీవీ పెట్టేది అంతే. ఏది ఆ పంచాయతీలోనో లేకపోతే ఆ ఊళ్ళో పాఠశాలలో టీవీ ఉండేది. వాటికి మాత్రమే బీమ్ చేసేది ఈ ప్రసారాలు తప్ప వేరే వాళ్ళు ఎవరికి చూసే అవకాశం కానీ ఆలోచన కానీ లేదు. వాటికి కూడా ఎవరైనా వస్తారా, వాటిని ఎవరైనా ప్రమోట్ చేస్తారా, పిల్లల్ని ఎవరైనా తీసుకొచ్చి ఆ టీవీల ముందు కూర్చోబెడతారా అంటే అట్లాంటిది ఏమీ లేదు. ఏదో చేసినామా అంటే చేసినామా అనిపించుకోవడానికి చేశారు తప్ప ఒక పద్ధతితో ప్రణాళికబద్ధంగా మాత్రం ఆలోచన చేయలేదు. ఆ క్రమంలో ఎప్పుడైతే శైలేష్ రెడ్డి గారు బాధ్యత తీసుకున్నారో అప్పటి నుంచి చాలా కొత్త ఆలోచనలతో, చాలా చక్కటి వినూత్నమైన ఆలోచనలతో పిల్లలకి, మన విద్యార్థులకి ఒకవైపు విద్యని మరొక వైపు నైపుణ్యాన్ని రెండింటినీ అందించాలనే ఉద్దేశంతో చాలా ప్రణాళికబద్ధంగా, చాలా ఆలోచనతో ఒక ఆచరణాత్మకమైన ప్రతిపాదనను తయారు చేసింది టీశాట్ టీం. అందులో ముఖ్యంగా శైలేష్ రెడ్డి గారి బృందం. దాన్ని ప్రభుత్వం ఆమోదించి, జయేష్ రంజన్ గారు, నేను ఆమోదించి, మీరు ఎంత విస్తరిస్తే అంత మంచిది, మీరు ఎంత బ్రహ్మాండమైన కార్యక్రమాలని, ఎంత బ్రహ్మాండమైన కాంటెంట్ని మీరు తయారు చేయగలిగితే అంత మంచిదని చెప్పి కొంత ప్రోత్సహించడం జరిగింది. అందులో భాగంగా ఈరోజు సంతోషం ఏంది అంటే, ఈరోజు టీశాట్ మనం ఒక్కసారి మన ప్రభుత్వం వచ్చిన తర్వాత తీసుకున్న ఒక్క నిర్ణయం వల్ల కేవలం గ్రామ పంచాయతీలో ఉండే ఒక టీవీయో లేకపోతే అక్కడ ఉండే స్కూల్లో ఉండే ఒక టీవీ కాదు, మొత్తంగా ప్రతి ఇంటికి పోవాలి టీశాట్ అని ఆలోచన చేసి కేబుల్ ద్వారా టీశాట్ని బీమ్ చేయడం స్టార్ట్ చేశాం. తద్వారా ఈరోజు ఏం జరిగిందంటే, మన రాష్ట్రంలోని 90 లక్షల ఇళ్లల్లో ఈరోజు టీశాట్ ఛానల్ అనేది ప్రసారం అవుతూ ఉంది. ఇది మనందరికీ గర్వకారణం. విద్య కావచ్చు, అటు నిపుణ కావచ్చు, ఈ రెండు ఛానళ్ళు కూడా 90 లక్షల కుటుంబాలకు ఈరోజు మన రాష్ట్రంలో అందుబాటులోకి వచ్చినాయి. అదేవిధంగా ఒకసారి టీవీల్లో మాత్రమే కాదు, ఎందుకంటే ఎడ్యుకేషన్ తరహా కూడా మారుతోంది, పిల్లల ఆలోచన విధానం మారుతోంది, టెక్నాలజీస్ మారుతున్నాయి, టెక్నాలజీస్ ఇవాల్వ్ అవుతున్నాయి. కాబట్టి దానికి తగ్గ విధంగా మనం కూడా మొబైల్ యాప్స్లో ఉండాలి. మనం కూడా ఎవరైనా తన కంప్యూటర్లో ఒక యాప్ డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకొని చూడగలగాలి, తన ఐప్యాడ్లో ఒక యాప్ డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకొని చూడగలగాలి అంటే, ఒక ట్యాబ్లెట్లో యాప్ డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకొని చూడగలగాలి అంటే బాగుంటుంది అని అనుకున్నప్పుడు టీశాట్ యాప్ కూడా తయారు చేసి ఆ యాప్ని ఈరోజు చాలా సంతోషం, దాదాపు 40 లక్షల మంది రిజిస్టర్డ్ యూజర్స్ ఈరోజు టీశాట్ ప్లాట్ఫామ్స్కి ఉన్నారు. అదేవిధంగా యాప్ ఒకటి చూసుకుంటే దాదాపు 10,000 పైచిలుకు గంటల కాంటెంట్తో మనకి 28 లక్షల డౌన్లోడ్స్ ఈరోజు మన టీశాట్ యాప్ అయ్యింది అంటే ఇది నిజంగా కూడా గర్వకారణం. నేను ఇప్పుడే రవికాంత్ గారిని అడుగుతా ఉంటే మీ యాప్కి ఎన్ని డౌన్లోడ్స్ ఉన్నాయని, ఆయన అమాయకంగా చెప్పేశారు 25 లక్షల డౌన్లోడ్స్ ఉన్నాయని. మీకంటే మాకు ఎక్కువ ఉన్నాయి సబ్స్క్రైబర్స్. ఓకే, మీకంటే కొద్దిగా మాకు ఎక్కువ ఉన్నారని చెప్పడానికి చెప్తారు. ఎందుకంటే వాళ్ళదేమో అమెరికాలో ఇంకెక్కడెక్కడో చూస్తారు ఎంటర్టైన్మెంటు, మనదేమో ఓన్లీ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ అంత ఇంట్రెస్టింగ్ సబ్జెక్ట్ కాదు కదా. పిల్లలు ఎక్కడ ఎక్కువ వర్షం పడితే ఎప్పుడు హాలిడే ఇస్తారా, స్కూల్కి ఎప్పుడు తప్పించుకుందామని చూస్తూ ఉంటారు. అంటే మేము కూడా అట్లా చూసిన వాళ్ళం చిన్నప్పుడు. కాబట్టి ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఈజ్ నాట్ యాజ్ ఇంట్రెస్టింగ్ యాజ్ ఎంటర్టైన్మెంట్, బట్ అట్ ద సేమ్ టైమ్ ఐ థింక్ అ కాంబినేషన్ ఆఫ్ బోత్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ అండ్ ఎంటర్టైన్మెంట్, యు నో దే కాల్ ఇట్ ఎడ్యుటైన్మెంట్ నౌ, ఇన్ఫోటైన్మెంట్ అంటున్నారు. ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ని కూడా ఎంటర్టైనింగ్ పద్ధతుల్లో ప్యాకేజ్ చేయడాన్ని ఇన్ఫోటైన్మెంట్ అంటున్నారు. ఎడ్యుకేషన్ని ఎంటర్టైన్మెంట్ని కంబైన్ చేసి ప్యాక్ చేయడాన్ని ఎడ్యుటైన్మెంట్ అంటున్నారు. ఈ అన్నింటికి మించి నాకు అర్థమైంది ఏంటంటే పిల్లలు ఇవాళ వాళ్ళు నేర్చుకుంటున్న పద్ధతులు కూడా మారుతూ ఉన్నాయి. ఎవరో క్లాస్లో ఒక లెక్చరరో లేకపోతే టీచరో నించుని చెప్తే నేర్చుకున్నది ఎంతైతే ఉంటుందో, ఎంతైతే ఓపికగా అప్పుడు వింటారో, అంతకంటే ఎక్కువ ఈరోజు పిల్లలు తాము చూసే ఇతర మాధ్యమాల ద్వారా అక్కడి నుంచి గ్రహిస్తూ ఉన్నారు, అక్కడి నుంచి అర్థం చేసుకుంటూ ఉన్నారు, అక్కడి నుంచి నేర్చుకుంటూ ఉన్నారు. ఇన్ఫ్యాక్ట్ నేను అమెరికాలో ఉన్నప్పుడు ఒక పాపులర్ లేట్ నైట్ కామెడీ షో ఉండేది. దాని పేరు కామెడీ షో కాదు, లేట్ నైట్ టాక్ షో ఉండేది. డేవిడ్ లెటమన్, లేట్ నైట్ విత్ డేవిడ్ లెటమన్ అని ఉండేది. నేను అమెరికన్ పాలిటిక్స్ ఎక్కువ ఫాలో అయ్యేది కాదు, ఏం జరుగుతుంది బయట అనేది అంత పెద్దగా ఎక్కువ ఫాలో అయ్యేది కాదు. కానీ అదొక్క టాక్ షో చూస్తే అర్థమైపోయేది ఏం జరుగుతూ ఉంది బయట అనేది. అంటే ఎప్పటికప్పుడు సమకాలీన రాజకీయాల మీద, సమకాలీన సమాజంలో ఉండే పరిస్థితుల మీద, ఓవరాల్గా ప్రపంచవ్యాప్తంగా జరుగుతున్న వివిధ అంశాల మీద అందులో రకరకాల వ్యాఖ్యానాలు, రకరకాల కామెంటరీలు ఎంటర్టైనింగ్ పద్ధతిలో చెప్పేవాళ్ళు. నా రిక్వెస్ట్ ఏంటంటే శైలేష్ రెడ్డి గారితో, మనం ఇప్పటిదాకా చాలా సీరియస్ కాంటెంట్ మీద ఫోకస్ చేశాం. చాలా సీరియస్ కాంటెంట్, లెక్చర్స్, పిల్లల కోసం కావాల్సినంత కాంటెంట్ తయారు చేసి మీరు పెట్టారు. ముఖ్యంగా మీరు నాకు చెప్పింది ఏంటంటే ఒక్క స్కూల్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్లోనే అన్ని వీడియో క్లాసెస్, వీడియో కాంటెంట్స్ తీసుకుంటే దాదాపు TSAT యాప్లో 768 గంటల కాంటెంట్ ఉంది. 768 hours ఆఫ్ కాంటెంట్, విచ్ ఇస్ హ్యూమంగస్. అట్ ద సేమ్ టైం మీరు చాలా చక్కగా 2 ఛానల్స్ పెట్టుకున్నారు, విద్య, నిపుణ. విద్యలో భాగంగా ఈరోజు స్కూల్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్, ప్రాథమిక విద్య కానీ, మాధ్యమిక విద్య కానీ, అదేవిధంగా సాంకేతిక విద్య కానీ, టెక్నికల్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ కానీ, అదే మాదిరిగా హైయర్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్, ఉన్నత విద్య. ఈరోజు OU వైస్ ఛాన్సలర్ గారు, అదేవిధంగా అంబేద్కర్ యూనివర్సిటీ వైస్ ఛాన్సలర్ గారు, అట్లాంటి యూనివర్సిటీలతో ఒకవైపు టైప్, ఇంకోవైపు స్కూల్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్తో, ఇంటర్మీడియట్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్తో, కాలేజియేట్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్తో, మరొక వైపు టెక్నికల్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్తో అందరితో కూడా చాలా చక్కగా మీరు కోఆర్డినేట్ చేసుకుని చేస్తూ ఉన్నారు. దాంతోపాటు విద్యా ఛానల్ ద్వారా ఈరోజు విమెన్ అండ్ చైల్డ్ వెల్ఫేర్ డిపార్ట్మెంట్ కూడా మాతో కలిసి పనిచేస్తూ ఉంది. అంగన్వాడీ టీచర్స్ ట్రైనింగ్ కూడా ఈరోజు టీచర్స్ కానీ, వర్కర్స్ కానీ వాళ్ళది కూడా ఆన్లైన్ పద్ధతుల్లో వాళ్ళకు కూడా TSAT ద్వారా మీరు ట్రైనింగ్ అందిస్తూ ఉన్నారు. అదేవిధంగా నిపుణ ద్వారా, విద్యా నిపుణలో విద్యనేమో జ్ఞానం పెంచుకోవడం కోసం, విజ్ఞానం పెంచుకోవడం కోసం, నిపుణనేమో నైపుణ్యాన్ని పెంచుకోవడం కోసం, ఉపాధి కల్పన కోసం. కాబట్టి ఈ నిపుణ ద్వారా కూడా మీరు ఈరోజు చాలా కాంపిటేటివ్ ఎగ్జామ్స్కి మీరు నైపుణ్య శిక్షణ ఇస్తూ ఉన్నారు. బయట ఉండే ప్రైవేట్ కోచింగ్ సెంటర్లకు పోతే చాలా పెద్ద ఎత్తున డబ్బులు ఖర్చు పెట్టుకొని తల్లిదండ్రులు, ఎందుకంటే పిల్లలకు మంచి ఉద్యోగాలు రావాలి, మంచి భవిష్యత్తు ఉండాలనే ఉద్దేశంతో ఎన్ని డబ్బులైనా ఖర్చు పెట్టడానికి తల్లిదండ్రులు అప్పో సప్పో చేసైనా సరే పెట్టడానికి సిద్ధంగా ఉంటారు. ఆ పరిస్థితి వారికి రాకుండా, ఆ బాధ రాకుండా ఇవాళ టాస్క్ ఆధ్వర్యంలో TSAT కలిసి అటు TSPSC గ్రూప్ ఎగ్జామ్స్ కానీ, గురుకుల రిక్రూట్మెంట్ కానీ, పోలీస్ రిక్రూట్మెంట్ కానీ, అదేవిధంగా కాంపిటేటివ్ ఎగ్జామ్స్, ఇతర కాంపిటేటివ్ ఎగ్జామ్స్ కానీ, స్టాఫ్ సెలక్షన్ కమిషన్ ఆల్ ఇండియా ఎగ్జామ్స్ ఉంటాయి. అదేవిధంగా మన కంబైన్డ్ గ్రాడ్యుయేషన్ లెవెల్ టెస్ట్ అని, హైయర్ సెకండరీ లెవెల్ టెస్ట్ అని, అదేవిధంగా అన్నిటికన్నా ముఖ్యంగా మన UPSC, ఇప్పుడు జయేష్ రంజన్ గారు లాంటి బ్యూరోక్రాట్స్ ఎవరైతే పనిచేస్తూ ఉన్నారో తెలంగాణ గవర్నమెంట్లో, వాళ్ళని కూడా తీసుకొచ్చి అందులో టాపర్స్తో ఇంటర్వ్యూ చేయించి వాళ్ళ సక్సెస్ స్టోరీస్ కూడా బ్రాడ్కాస్ట్ చేసి పిల్లల్ని మోటివేట్ చేసే విధంగా, వీళ్ళు చేయగలిగినప్పుడు నేను ఎందుకు చేయలేను అనే ఒక ఆలోచన, ఒక ఊహాజనితమైన వారికి ఒక ఆస్పిరేషన్ కలిగే విధంగా మీరు చేస్తున్న కార్యక్రమాలన్నీ బాగున్నాయి. అయితే నా విజ్ఞప్తి ఏంటంటే 2. ఒకటి, శైలేష్ గారు, డెఫినెట్గా మీరు అన్నట్టు మీ ఆధ్వర్యంలో, మీ లీడర్షిప్లో TSAT మారింది, బాగుపడింది, తప్పకుండా సరైన దిశలో ప్రయాణం ప్రారంభమైంది. కానీ నెక్స్ట్ లెవెల్కి పోవాల్సిన టైం కూడా ఆసనమైంది. ఎందుకంటే ఇప్పుడు మీరు చూస్తూ ఉన్నారు, ఒక T-Hub స్టార్టప్ స్కై రూట్ అని చెప్పేసి వాళ్ళు శాటిలైట్లో భారతదేశం నుంచి మొట్టమొదటి రాకెట్ని లాంచ్ చేసింది స్కై రూట్. భవిష్యత్తులో స్పేస్ టెక్ ద్వారా ఇంకో కంపెనీ, ధృవ అనే కంపెనీ, హైదరాబాద్ కంపెనీ, అది కూడా వాళ్ళు కూడా నానో శాటిలైట్స్ పంపారు ఆర్బిట్లోకి. తప్పకుండా నేను గతంలో కూడా మీకు చెప్పినాను, మళ్ళీ కూడా చెప్తా ఉన్నాను, ఈరోజు సెంట్రల్ గవర్నమెంట్ కంట్రోల్లో ఉంది. ఏంటి శాటిలైట్స్ ఎవరు ఉండాలి, ఎవరు ఓన్ చేయాలి, ఏ స్టేట్స్ ఓన్ చేసుకోవడానికి లేదు. ప్రస్తుతం గవర్నమెంట్ ఆఫ్ ఇండియా మాత్రమే శాటిలైట్స్ ఓన్ చేస్తుంది. ఇస్రో ద్వారా వాళ్ళు పంపుతారు, తర్వాత అందులో మనం లీజ్ తీసుకొని నడిపించుకోవాలి. నేననేది ఏమంటే భవిష్యత్తులో తప్పకుండా స్పేస్ టెక్ ఓపెన్ అయింది కాబట్టి ప్రైవేట్ శాటిలైట్స్ కూడా, ప్రైవేట్ శాటిలైట్ కంపెనీస్ కూడా, దే విల్ స్టార్ట్ సెల్లింగ్ బ్యాండ్విడ్త్, దే విల్ స్టార్ట్ గివింగ్ అస్ more and more opportunities. TSAT should not confine itself to Telangana alone. We should start thinking of catering to the Telugu diaspora across the world. ప్రపంచంలో ఎక్కడ మన తెలుగు పిల్లలు ఉన్నా వాళ్ళందరికీ కూడా కేటర్ అయ్యే విధంగా కాంటెంట్ ఇవాళ ఆహా ఎక్కడో ఉండే అమెరికాలో ఉండే సబ్స్క్రైబర్స్ కూడా ఆహాని చూస్తూ ఉన్నారు, అక్కడ కూడా డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకుని కాంటెంట్ని చూస్తూ ఉన్నారు. మన పిల్లలు కూడా ఎక్కడ ఉన్న వాళ్ళైనా సరే వాళ్ళ కోసం కూడా కొంత మన పరిధిని విస్తృతం చేసి ఆలోచన చేయాల్సిందిగా మొదటి రిక్వెస్ట్. రెండోది ఏంటంటే ఇప్పుడే నేను చెప్పినట్టు పిల్లలకి నేర్పే విధానాలు కూడా మారాల్సిన అవసరం ఉంది. ఎందుకంటే ఒక లెక్చరు మనం గంట కొట్టేదాకా లెక్చరర్ గారు చెప్తే అదే ఒక మూస పద్ధతిలో చెప్తే పిల్లలు పూర్తిగా ఆకలింపు చేసుకోలేరు. కొంత ఎంటర్టైనింగ్ పద్ధతుల్లో కొంత దానిలో ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ని ప్లస్ ఎంటర్టైన్మెంట్ని కూడా కొంత ఆలోచనాత్మకంగా, అంటే వాళ్ళు ఫిజికల్గా అయితేనేమో చేయలేరు, కానీ మనది ఎక్కువ కూడా డిజిటల్ మీడియం కాబట్టి మనం చేసేదానికి అవకాశం ఉంటుంది. యూజింగ్ టెక్నాలజీ, యూజింగ్ సిమ్యులేషన్, యూజింగ్ యానిమేషన్, మీరు దీన్ని ఎంటర్టైనింగ్ కనుక చేయగలిగితే డెఫినెట్గా మనకి ఇంకా ఎక్కువ రీచ్ వచ్చే అవకాశం ఉంటుంది, పిల్లలు కూడా ఎక్కువ నేర్చుకునే అవకాశం ఉంది. సో ఈ యానిమేషన్లో మల్టీమీడియాలో వచ్చిన కొత్త ఆలోచనలు అది మీరు ఎట్లాగో ఆహాలో ఇంట్రడ్యూస్ చేస్తున్నారు, వాళ్ళ దగ్గర కూడా హెల్ప్ తీసుకోండి. లేదా ఇతర మనకి ఇక్కడ గేమింగ్ కంపెనీస్ కానీ ఆన్లైన్ మల్టీమీడియా కంపెనీస్ కానీ తర్వాత చాలా ఇన్నోవేటివ్ కంపెనీస్ ఉన్నాయి. జయేష్ గారితో మాట్లాడి వాళ్ళతో కూడా ఒక సమావేశం ఏర్పాటు చేసి ఎట్లా మనం ఈ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఇంకా చాలా ఇంట్రెస్టింగ్గా పిల్లలకి, ముఖ్యంగా ప్రైమరీ స్కూల్లో ఉన్న పిల్లలకి మనం ప్రజెంట్ చేయవచ్చు. ఇది ఎందుకంటా ఉన్నానంటే మొన్న నేను మా మున్సిపల్ డిపార్ట్మెంట్ రివ్యూ చేస్తున్నప్పుడు మా వాళ్ళు ఫోటోలు పంపుతున్నారు నాకు. అంటే ఎడ్యుకేషన్ అంటే కేవలం తరగతి గదుల్లో నేర్చుకునేది కాదు కదా. మా వాళ్ళు నేను డీసిల్టింగ్ చేస్తున్నాము, నాళ్ళల్లో పూడిక తీస్తున్నామని ఫోటోలు పంపుతున్నారు. ఒక్కొక్క ఫోటో చూస్తే ఎంత బాధేస్తుంది అంటే అందులోకి వెళ్ళి ఆ వచ్చే పూడికలో వచ్చే పదార్థాలు చూస్తుంటే బయటికి నాళల్లో ప్లాస్టిక్ బాటిళ్ళు ఉంటాయి, కుర్చీలు ఉంటాయి, సోఫాలు ఉంటాయి, పరుపులు దిండ్లు ఉంటాయి, ఏది నాళాలు. ఈ నీళ్ళు ఏడుకోవాలి మరి. అంటే ఇది ఎందుకు చెప్తున్నా అంటే మన పిల్లలకి మాకు చిన్నప్పుడు మాకు స్కూల్లో SUPW అనేది ఒకటి ఉండేది, సోషలీ యూస్ఫుల్ ప్రొడక్టివ్ వర్క్ అని ఒక క్లాస్ ఉండేది. ఇప్పుడు పిల్లలకు ఉందో లేదో నాకు తెలియదు, ఉండొచ్చు అనుకుంటున్నా. ఒకవేళ ఆ డిసిప్లిన్ని కూడా మనం పిల్లలకి కనుక చిన్నప్పటి నుంచి ఇంకల్కేట్ చేయగలిగితే, అంటే ఒక ఇన్నోవేటివ్, ఇన్ఫర్మేటివ్ యట్ ఎంటర్టైనింగ్ పద్ధతుల్లో కనుక పిల్లలకి చిన్న చిన్న విషయాలు మనం నేర్పించగలిగితే, ముఖ్యంగా ప్రైమరీ స్కూల్లో ఉన్న పిల్లలకి, పెద్దవాళ్ళు ఎట్లా కష్టం వాళ్ళని మార్చలేం, ఇక్కడ కూర్చున్న వాళ్ళు ఎవరిని కూడా మార్చలేం, వీళ్ళ అలవాట్లు మనం మార్చలేం. కానీ చిన్నపిల్లలు ఉంటారు, ఆ 10th క్లాస్ అమ్మాయి ఉంది పాప, అట్లాంటి వాళ్ళకి కనుక మనం కరెక్ట్గా వాళ్ళని ట్యూన్ చేయగలిగితే, ఒక జనరేషన్ 2 జనరేషన్ కరెక్ట్గా ట్యూన్ చేయగలిగితే, ఎందుకంటే నేను చూశాను నా కళ్ళతో, ఇక్కడ ఉన్నప్పుడు మన వాళ్ళు తేడాగా ఉంటారు, బయటకు పోతే మాత్రం అందరు చక్కగా అవుతారు. నేను నా కళ్ళతో నేనే చూశాను. ఇక్కడ ఉంటేనేమో చల్తా హై యాటిట్యూడ్ నడుస్తుంటుంది మొత్తం, మన నాలానే కదా పారేద్దాం. అదే వేరే దేశం సింగపూర్కో హాంకాంగ్కో ఇంకొకడికి పోతేనేమో వెంటనే ఒళ్ళు దగ్గర పెట్టుకొని చెత్త బుట్టలోనే పాడేయాలి చెత్తని, అక్కడ చాలా మర్యాదగా ఉంటారు, ఇక్కడ మాత్రం ఉండరు. ఈ మాట ఎందుకు చెప్తా ఉన్నా అంటే లెట్ us ఆల్సో టేకప్ దిస్ క్యాంపెయిన్ త్రూ TSAT ఆఫ్ సోషల్ అవేర్నెస్ అండ్ సోషల్ రెస్పాన్సిబిలిటీ. సోషల్ రెస్పాన్సిబిలిటీ ఒక కార్పొరేట్స్కే ఉండదు, CSR మాత్రమే కాదు, ఇండివిజువల్స్ కూడా ఉంటుంది. నా నాల నేను శుభ్రంగా ఉంచుకోవాలి, మా చెరువులు శుభ్రంగా ఉంచుకోవాలి, మా వాటర్ బాడీ శుభ్రంగా ఉంచుకోవాలి, నేను చెత్త పాడేయకూడదు, లిటర్ చేయకూడదు ఎక్కడ పడితే అక్కడ. ఈ బేసిక్ ఇష్యూస్ కనుక మనం పిల్లలకి నేర్పించగలిగితే ఇన్ అ వెరీ ఎంటర్టైనింగ్ అండ్ అ వెరీ ఇన్ఫర్మేటివ్ వే దాట్ విల్ వర్క్. మూడోది నా రిక్వెస్ట్ మీతో, శైలేష్ రెడ్డి గారితో, నేను US పోయేటప్పుడు నేను ఉస్మానియా గ్రాడ్యుయేట్ని, నేను యాక్చువల్లీ నిజాం కాలేజ్లో చదువుకున్నాను, అది కూడా ఉస్మానియా యూనివర్సిటీ అఫిలియేట్ కాలేజ్, ఇక్కడే నేను డిగ్రీ చేసినాను. ఆ తర్వాత మాస్టర్స్కి పుణే యూనివర్సిటీ పోయాను, ఆ తర్వాత ఇంకొక మాస్టర్స్కి USలో చదువుకున్నాను. అయితే ఆ క్రమంలో నేను US పోయేటప్పుడు నేను కూడా GMAT రాశాను. GMAT, TOEFL అందరు రాస్తారు కదా. ఆ టైంలో నేను చూసింది అప్పుడు ఆన్లైన్ ఎగ్జామ్స్ ఉండేది. ఏంటి, నేను కావాలంటే ఇంట్లోనే కూర్చొని ఆ మాక్ టెస్ట్లన్నీ తీసుకోవచ్చు, ఎన్ని కావాలంటే ఎన్నిసార్లు కావాలంటే అన్నిసార్లు మాక్ టెస్ట్ తీసుకోవచ్చు. సో దట్ ఐ కెన్ బై ద టైమ్ ఐ అపియర్ ఫర్ GMAT ఐ కెన్ యాక్చువల్లీ బీ కాన్ఫిడెంట్ దట్ కమ్ వాట్ మే ఐ విల్ బీ ఏబుల్ టు స్కోర్ వెల్ అనే ఒక పద్ధతుల్లో. నా రిక్వెస్ట్ ఏంటంటే శైలేష్ గారితో, మీరు ఆల్రెడీ ఒక మంచి ఎఫర్ట్ ప్రారంభించారు, కాంటెంట్ బాగా తయారు చేస్తున్నారు. మాక్ టెస్టింగ్ కూడా నాకు మీరు ఇప్పుడు చెప్పింది తర్వాత మీరు ప్రొఫెసర్లు మీకు చెప్పారని చెప్తున్నారు, ప్రొఫెసర్ గంటా చక్రపాణి, ప్రొఫెసర్ సీతారామరావు, ప్రొఫెసర్ రవీందర్ యాదవ్. మన దగ్గర ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్కి ఏం తక్కువ లేదు, కావాల్సినంత ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ ఉంది, కావాల్సినంత మంది పెద్దలు, చాలా మేధస్సు కలిగిన వాళ్ళు, చాలామంది ప్రొఫెసర్లు, లెక్చరర్లు, టీచర్లు ఎంతోమంది ఉన్నారు. మనం కనుక ఒక 50,000 క్వశ్చన్స్తో ఒక మాక్ టెస్ట్ మన ప్రాపర్ మాడ్యూల్ కనుక తయారు చేయగలిగితే TSATలో, మన పిల్లలు ఎక్కడో ఇంకేదో ఇన్స్టిట్యూట్కి పోయి ఇంకేదో చేయాల్సిన అవసరం ఉండదు. ఆన్లైన్ కావాలంటే ఎప్పుడు కావాలంటే అప్పుడు వాళ్ళు మాక్ టెస్ట్ తీసుకునే విధంగా, ఎప్పుడు కావాలంటే వాళ్ళు అప్పుడు మరి ఎగ్జామ్ తీసుకొని తమ తమ నైపుణ్యాన్ని తమ ప్రావీణ్యాన్ని పెంచుకునే దిశగా ప్రయత్నం చేయాలని, ఈ దిశగా మీకు ఏ రకమైన సపోర్ట్ కావాలన్నా రాష్ట్ర ప్రభుత్వం నుంచి అందించడానికి మేము సిద్ధంగా ఉన్నామని చెప్పి కూడా తెలియజేస్తూ, మరి ఈరోజు ఒకవైపు ఓయూతో ఉస్మానియా యూనివర్సిటీ హ్యాస్ బీన్ డూయింగ్ రియలీ వెల్, బట్ ఐ థింక్ వీ కెన్ డూ ఈవెన్ బెటర్ సార్. మీరు అన్నారు ఒక గర్ల్స్ హాస్టల్ నిజాం కాలేజీలో కట్టాము 15 కోట్లు అయింది. తర్వాత అక్కడ అమ్మాయిలకే కట్టిస్తారా, మాకెందుకు కట్టిరని అబ్బాయిలు గొడవ స్టార్ట్ చేసింది. వాళ్ళకో 18 కోట్లతో అది కూడా మంజూరు చేసాము. తొందరలో విద్యాశాఖ మంత్రి గారు టైం తీసుకొని దాన్ని కూడా శంకుస్థాపన చేసుకుందాం. అయితే ఇక్కడ ప్రత్యేకంగా ఎందుకు చెప్తా ఉన్నా అంటే అది మా డిపార్ట్మెంట్ ద్వారా చేసాం, ఎడ్యుకేషన్ డిపార్ట్మెంట్ ద్వారా చేయలేదు. మా నిజాం కాలేజ్ కాబట్టి ఆ కొంత సెల్ఫిష్ మోటివ్ ఉంటుంది కాబట్టి మున్సిపల్ అడ్మినిస్ట్రేషన్ డిపార్ట్మెంట్ ద్వారా ఈ 2 హాస్టళ్ళకి కలిపి ఒక 33 కోట్లు మంజూరు చేసుకున్నాం. మిగతాది కూడా నేషనల్ సెంటర్ ఫర్ అడిటివ్ మ్యానుఫ్యాక్చరింగ్ ఈజ్ ఆల్సో హెడ్ క్వార్టర్డ్ ఇన్ ఉస్మానియా యూనివర్సిటీ. బట్ ఐ విష్ వీ కుడ్ డూ మోర్ సార్. ఐ విష్ వీ కుడ్ యాక్చువల్లీ ఎంకరేజ్. మీ దగ్గర సెంటర్ ఫర్ ఆంటర్ప్రినర్షిప్ ఉంది, 16 స్టార్టప్స్ పనిచేస్తున్నాయని మీరు చెప్పారు, కానీ సరిపోదు. ఎందుకంటే ఈరోజు ఒక్క వీహబ్లోనే 100 మంది స్టార్టప్స్ ఉన్నారు, టీహబ్లో 100 మంది స్టార్టప్స్ ఉన్నారు, టీఎస్ఐసిలో 100 మంది స్టార్టప్స్ ఉన్నారు. అట్లాంటిది 1000 మంది పిల్లలు ఉన్న ఉస్మానియాలో 16 స్టార్టప్స్ అంటే అది చాలా తక్కువ. కాబట్టి నా విజ్ఞప్తి మీతో కూడా, ఇన్నోవేషన్కి మనం ఎంత ఎక్కువ ఊతం ఇస్తే, ప్రపంచవ్యాప్తంగా మీరు ఏ యూనివర్సిటీకి పోయినా, ఒక స్టాన్ఫర్డ్ పోయినా, ఒక ఎంఐటీకి పోయినా, ఒక హార్వర్డ్ పోయినా, you would realize that research is the bedrock of innovation. ఎంత రీసెర్చ్ యాక్టివిటీ ఎక్కువ ఉంటే అంత ఇన్నోవేషన్ అక్కడ వస్తుంది. ఆ ఎంత ఇన్నోవేషన్ ఎక్కువ ఉంటే అక్కడ అన్ని కంపెనీస్, కొత్త స్టార్టప్స్, కొత్త ఎంటర్ప్రైజెస్ అక్కడ నుంచి పుట్టుకొస్తాయి. భవిష్యత్తులో ఒక రోజు రావాలి. ఇప్పుడే మీరు చెప్తా ఉన్నారు నాకు, అడోబీ సీఈఓ శాంతను నారాయణ్ మా ఉస్మానియా ప్రోడక్ట్స్ అని చెప్తున్నారు మీరు. శాంతను ఆఫ్ కోర్స్ ఇస్ అ డియర్ ఫ్రెండ్ ఆఫ్ ఆల్ ఆఫ్ అస్. ఆయనకి మీరు చెప్పారు గౌరవ డాక్టరేట్ ఇస్తున్నామని చెప్పారు, చాలా సంతోషం. వారికి కూడా వెంటనే కమ్యూనికేట్ చేసి వారిని కూడా మీ సెలబ్రేషన్కి ఆహ్వానిద్దాం. కానీ వాళ్ళ శాంతను వెళ్ళి ఎక్కడో అమెరికాలో అడోబీ నడుపుతూ ఉన్నారు. అట్లా కాకుండా మన ఉస్మానియా నుండే ఒక అడోబీ రావాలి, మన ఉస్మానియా నుండే ఒక అద్భుతమైన వరల్డ్ క్లాస్ ఎంటర్ప్రైజ్ కూడా రావాలి అంటే దానికి తగ్గ విధంగా ఇన్నోవేషన్కి పెద్దపీట వేయాలి. మన పిల్లల్ని కూడా ప్రోత్సహించాలి. ఎంతసేపు చదువుకున్న తర్వాత ఉద్యోగం చేస్తామన్నట్టే కాకుండా 10 మందికి ఉద్యోగాలు ఇచ్చే దిశగా, కొంత ప్రోత్సహించే దిశగా మీ వైపు నుంచి కూడా ఇన్నోవేషన్ మీద ఫోకస్ కొనసాగాలని మనస్ఫూర్తిగా కోరుకుంటూ, TSAT 6వ వార్షికోత్సవం సందర్భంగా రాబోయే 6 ఏళ్ళు, రాబోయే 10 ఏళ్ల కోసం కూడా ఒక ప్రణాళిక. ఎందుకంటే అల్టిమేట్గా శైలేష్ గారు, మీరు, నేను లేదా ఇక్కడ పనిచేసే మనందరం కూడా అశాశ్వతం. ఎవరైనా కూడా అల్టిమేట్గా వీ హ్యావ్ టు మూవ్ ఆన్ అండ్ డూ అదర్ థింగ్స్ ఇన్ లైఫ్. బట్ వాట్ వీ డూ వైల్ వీఆర్ హియర్, what kind of an institution we have built, what kind of a process we have put in place, which will outlast. An institution should outlast an individual, a process should outlast a person. Only then we are leaders, only then we would have done something truly good. So I hope and pray that you will be able to deliver something even better, which will be of great use to the children of to the students of our state. Thank you. Jai Telangana, Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, sir. It was a lot of words peppered with inspiration, motivation, and vision for future for both TSAT and OU. And thanks for the good words that you said about the alumni. And thanks for all the support you keep doing to OU time and again, sir. And just 2 days back, he celebrated his birthday as well. So at 2 days back, you celebrated your birthday. There were a lot of cakes that were being cut in the Arts College, I remember that. So we're all here in flesh and blood to wish him a belated happy birthday once again. And we have a short felicitation ceremony for the dignitaries. We thought we would do it in the beginning, and sir has asked us to do it in the end there. Please, sir. Okay. Yes, sir. Sir said we would do it to Sailesh Reddy, sir, CEO SoftNet, TSAT Hyderabad. Yeah, request to registrar, sir, and Vice Chancellor, sir. Okay, there is some reverse felicitations happening around there. Okay, recognizing the efforts that were being put to get to watch this day there. Now request our distinguished zoology faculty member and OSD to the Vice Chancellor, Professor B. Redaya Naiksa, to please come over for the vote of thanks, please. To give us the formal vote of thanks.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today is a significant milestone in the annals of Osmania University as we are gathered here to witness the signing of MOU between Osmania University and TSAT, a momentous step towards bridging the digital divide and embracing in the digital revolution. On this special occasion, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to each and every one of you here joining to this momentous occasion. We are deeply honored to have the esteemed personalities among us, the dynamic and visionary leader, Honorable Minister IT and EC, Municipal Administration and Urban Development Industries, Sri KT Ramarao Garu, and the respected Sri Jayesh Ranjan IAS, Principal Secretary, Government of Telangana, along with other dignitaries on the days. Sir, your presence here today reflects an unwavering commitment and support towards advancing education and empowerment in Telangana. The role of IT and EC department is promoting the growth and development of information technology, electronic manufacturing, and communication infrastructure in Telangana is truly commendable. Through the initiatives like promoting e-governance and also encouraging us to have this collaborative movement, we thank you all for having this great moment. I thank all the participants who have been spending this wonderful occasion. Thank you very much for each and one. Thank you.
Keep hearing people talking about. These were some of the thoughts which came into being. If these were not enough, you have a larger challenge, center versus state. That's the beauty of our federal structure, our democracy, center versus state. And particularly when you have a different political power ruling at the center. How do you deal with it? How do you negotiate? That's another challenge. These are certain questions which still come to my mind. I've heard you talk about it. And before I go to the next point, let me tell you, the moment some people heard this topic, I said, oh, this he knows like a back of his hand. He will just, so he said, yeah, we'll wait. We want to hear him and we want him to answer our questions. So these challenges do come forth time and again. Again, another beauty of a federal structure, as I would say, so your state has coal, your state has power. Still there are issues in that segment which continue. Your state can boast of services as a prime sector. You are doing it, you're pushing it. But then sometimes it looks like it's a one-man show. One man is pushing it. How much is it being taken ahead is what we would like to know. Your state is also seeing industrial investments in certain sectors. But then, is it enough to bring Telangana to the level which we would like the state to see? These are the questions which come immediately to my mind. And I know everyone wants to hear you rather me. So I would not go on it. But I had a personal question before I wrap and tell you the whole concept and why we're doing it. How does it feel like a professional to become a politician and get lesser remuneration? It's all about remuneration today. You have left a lucrative job and you're a politician by choice. You haven't come in because there was a family pressure or a parental pressure. And if I got you right, you in fact told us once that you were asked by your father, stay away. So I really want to know that to leave a lucrative job and to come into this job in this public eye, what do you want to say to the youth who want to do? There are a lot of students also here, and they would definitely like to know what it makes one to join a profession called politics. I would definitely not join because I'm not that thick-skinned also. Although I've been married to a civil servant, but no, I'm not that thick-skinned. So, sir, these were some thoughts, and I hope you can answer some of our questions here. And I thank with all, on behalf of my family and the fraternity of 86, which is here, which is our extended family, our family members who have joined us, friends, families who have joined us virtually, quite a number of them. I thank you for making it possible for us. I thank the DG of MCR HRD to making it possible, the additional DG, and Shanti has not been able to make it because she's in a meeting with the CM. She has promised the Chief Secretary of Telangana. Without her support, we wouldn't have been able to do it. So thank you.
Thank you, Mother. Before I invite the Minister to speak, if I may request everybody to turn their phones to either flight mode or to mute, just as a housekeeping announcement. And now to turn to our VIP guest, Mr. K.T. Ramarao, Minister for Industries and Commerce and Municipal Administration and Urban Development, Government of Telangana. As a young migrant myself to this state, sir, very keen to hear your speech, please.
Good afternoon. Thank you to the Director General of MCR HRD, Sri Shashank Goyal. Thank you, the Additional General. Thanks to also to the Additional Director General, Sri Ben Herika. Thank you, ma'am, Richaji, for inviting me. And thanks to all of you for joining us because it's a very damp day in Hyderabad. It's a very wet day in Hyderabad. You know, a lot of people complaining in Twitter, a lot of people complaining elsewhere on how waterlogged roads are, etc., etc. But thank you for showing up. Thank you for expressing your affection towards Mr. Abhay Tripathi. Richa, I seriously wonder now, because you asked me in the last 5 minutes at least 10 questions. I wonder how many questions you used to ask Abhay every day. Must have been quite a few. And also when you said, you know, he's a batch of 86, you know, you kept saying team of 86, batch of 86. I remember, you know, that movie, 83, right, the World Cup. So this is sort of, you know, giving me a bit of a, you know, sort of a reminder that there are batches in IAS officers, they flock together, they do well. So compliments to all of you, sir. Mr. Tiwari, Mr. Narsingh Rao, to everybody else, Sam Shuragaru and Satish Chandraji, to Mr. Tripathi and everybody else who's part of the batch. Glad you also asked all the right questions, but I wish you had said our city and our state as opposed to saying your city and your state. Because I would like to believe that this city belongs to all of us, not any one in particular. So therefore, I think once you've made this your home, because, you know, like, you know, what is a migrant? Who is a migrant, for that matter? I mean, my father has migrated from Siddipet to Hyderabad. Mr. Tripathi has migrated probably from the northern part of India, from Uttar Pradesh, or I'm guessing Ujjain, Madhya Pradesh. Ranchi, so northern part of India. So the thing is, I mean, end of the day, if you look at the Hakiki Hyderabadis, the original Hyderabadis, the true blood, the true blue Hyderabadis who were born, raised here, versus anybody who's moved here, I think majority of them, in fact, would be from outside of this city. Somebody could be from 50 kilometers away, somebody could be from 1,000 kilometers away, but essentially it's a city full of migrants. And if you look at any developed world, any part of the developed world, be it the US, be it Europe, be it any part. I think, in fact, just this afternoon, I was browsing, on my phone. On YouTube, an ad popped up inviting people to come work in Germany. An ad in YouTube inviting Indians to come and work in Germany. So the point is, I think immigrants, especially hardworking immigrants with skills, with a lot of, fire in their belly is what make cities great, what make countries great, what makes states great. So I can't thank enough to all the immigrants who have come here, made Hyderabad and Telangana their home, and who have contributed immensely. Thank you, and I think they deserve a big round of applause before we begin. So, Richa said, why not economics? When she called me and when she invited me to this lecture, I said, economics, how am I related? She said, but that's what the theme is, so you have to figure out, come talk to us about economics, tell us all about what your state has been doing. So, I thought to myself, good economics is good politics, and being a good politician, I thought I'll take this as an opportunity to present to you this case of Telangana, which I call the most successful startup state of independent India. Because since 1950s, since independence, in fact, after 1947, there have been a number of states that have been formed. After the first State Reorganization Commission was constituted back in early 50s, and after the first set of states were formed on linguistic basis in 1950s, since then till now, till 2014, number of new states have been created. Most recently, if you have to look at this millennium, starting with Uttarakhand, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh in 2001, and in 2014, Andhra and Telangana. So in this millennium itself, we've had 5. In the last one, we've had the remaining states. So altogether in India right now, we have 28 states. Now, what sets Telangana different? What are the challenges that Telangana has had to face as a young state? I think I'd dwell on that a bit. What happens is, the context of the formation of each state is very different from the other. So if you look at Uttarakhand or Jharkhand or Chhattisgarh, I know that there was a protracted struggle in Jharkhand led by Sri Shibu Sorenji and his party, the Jharkhand Mukti Morcha. But Chhattisgarh and Uttarakhand, in fact, were formed more for administrative convenience, more for, I think, more to give company to Jharkhand, in a way, if I have to say that, in 2001. But in the case of Telangana, this state was formed after a very, very hard-fought, protracted struggle which lasted for decades. Yes, there were highs, there were lows, there were a number of times when it was deemed a lost cause, but eventually in 2001, when our current Chief Minister, Honorable Sri KTR, formed his political outfit called as the Telangana Rashtra Samiti, he had given a clarion call. He said this would be the last opportunity for the formation of the state, and he would go around sensitizing. He took that Ambedkar philosophy, fight, unite, and strive. He took it very, very seriously. As an Ambedkarite, he actually strived very hard for about 14 years. He did everything in his capacity to sensitize people, to agitate when there was a need, to actually make it a very important cause for the entire political spectrum in India. Eventually in 2014, I don't want to go into the nitty-gritties of what happened between 2001 to 2014 because it's all water under the bridge. There's a number of things that I can talk about, but I would rather not go there. I'll talk about what happened after formation of Telangana. In 2014, the people of Telangana, by way of their struggle, by way of their democratic spirit, have conferred a compulsion on the political system in India. It was not that Congress was very keenly wanting to deliver in Telangana. It was not that BJP was wholeheartedly supporting Telangana. It was that both UPA and NDA were compelled and were left with no choice, literally, given the political considerations, to concede and to deliver the state of Telangana. But like Richa said, when the state of Telangana was eventually formed on the 2nd of June 2014, there were lots of doubts. There were lots of rumors. There were lots of hearsays. There were lots of apprehensions. A lot of people wondering what would happen next. And adding to this, adding fuel to the fire, I think I can't blame media, but I have to say this. I see some friends from media. Please don't get me wrong when I say this and don't misquote me and kind of chastise me tomorrow, but I'll have to say this. After the advent of 24/7 electronic media especially, there wasn't a single day in my memory from 2009 to 14, when the issue of Telangana was not debated, or not actually was beaten to death. Every aspect, every single aspect with respect to formation of Telangana, would it be a viable state? Would the leadership here, have it in them to actually make it a successful state? Would this state actually survive? What would happen to the migrant population? What would happen to Andhras? What would happen to Rayalaseemas? What would happen to the Kannadigas, the Maharashtrians, everybody who's settled here, who's made Hyderabad their home? What would happen to the Hyderabadi cosmopolitan fabric? All these questions were asked. There was even rumors that this would become a hot den for Naxalites. There were even rumors that the feudals would return and Telangana would once again go back to 1950s and 1940s, and it would literally become one of the most backward states in India. These were all the things that were floated, all the theories, all the nonsense that was said about Telangana. Today I stand here proudly, representing the state of Telangana, being a responsible minister in the government and being a responsible citizen of this state. I want to list out to you all the achievements that this state has accomplished. Like I said, we focused on one basic thing. Good economics is good politics. As long as you create wealth, as long as you make sure that the poorest of the poor in the society are taken care of, as long as you ensure that the wealth that gets distributed equitably, without depriving anybody, without any depravity, I think you would have done your job. Our Honorable Chief Minister, Shri KTR, he's a man who's learnt it the hard way in life, that suppression of excellence is something that is done as a matter of routine. He's had to fight his way up all along his life. He's never had anything which kind of helped him politically, meaning, especially in the politics, because you said politicians have thick skin, you also said bureaucrats have thick skin, so I have to kind of refer you, to that comment of yours. Yes, you have to develop a thick skin to survive in this. Unfortunately, whether we like it or not, there is a lot of mediocrity that you have to put up with. Unfortunately, whether I like it or not, there are a lot of legacy processes, legacy issues in place which I can't simply negate or overlook or eclipse and say that, I can dispense away with that. You inherit them. These are challenges that you inherit. But end of the day, I think what matters is how well you work. In the case of Telangana, coming back to the challenges of being a young state. In the case of Telangana, when it was formed, the expectation of the people of Telangana was sky high. What happens is, a Chhattisgarh or a Uttarakhand where the people weren't fighting or were wanting a state versus a state of Telangana where people were actually giving up their lives. We had young students immolating themselves, setting themselves up in fire, trying to make a point. We've had a gentleman called Yadi Reddy who traveled all the way to Delhi to commit suicide in front of Parliament. So this was an emotional battle. This was not a simple statehood battle. This was a battle where each and every person, who was fighting for the cause, took it to his heart, her heart, and actually really staked everything to make it happen. So what happens essentially when that is the mood prevalent? The expectations are high. So when we started as a young state, our Chief Minister said, the tagline of the movement for the state was justice in water resources, justice in fund allocation, and justice in employment. Neelu, Nidhulu, Niyamakalu, in Telugu if I have to put it. So this was the fundamental thing that we focused on. Back in 2014, when we started our journey, and most bureaucrats who are seated here, most economists who are seated here, or the journalists seated here would tell you that for any government to start making plans, for any government to start working on something, we're working towards an outcome or a goal, you would need planning, of course, but planning can only happen in the presence or with the backing of good statistics. Mr. Joshi is here, he worked as our Chief Secretary, he would know, he would tell you. Mr. Tiwari is also here, Mr. Mishra is here, Ajay Mishra ji is also here. All of them worked with our Chief Minister very closely, and they would tell you. When the Honorable Chief Minister initially started laying out plans and he started saying planning is important, statistics is important, data is important, so get me accurate information, accurate data. And when we were trying to understand, where do I get this data? Unfortunately, there wasn't much available. You will be surprised when I say this, and I don't want to demean or insult anybody or, insult or, even cast aspersions on how the governments in the past were run, but the fact is, there wasn't enough data to make empirical, decisions, make sure that we work towards a specific outcome. But I'll give you examples. So I was a Minister for Rural Water Supply in 2014. I was Minister for Panchayati Raj and Rural Water Supply. So Honorable Chief Minister decided that we will become the first state in India, because he had done this in his constituency, Siddipet, back in late 90s. He had provided a potable drinking water connection to each and every home in his constituency. Almost, I think, about 50,000-60,000 households. And this was late 90s. So he said, if I could do that as a legislator in Siddipet, why can't I do the same thing as a chief minister across the state of Telangana? So he wanted me to get the data on the pipes laid in the rural, setting, in the villages, number of overhead service reservoirs built, when were they built, which year were they built, the number of pipeline laid, what shape are they in, when were they laid, is there like a map, is there an inventory, etc., etc. So I sat with my team, my engineering department, my engineering chief, and the entire rural water supply department. You would not believe it if I said this. Honestly, they said, sir, the data goes only as back as 1980s. What happened prior to that, we really don't know, because there's no bookkeeping, there's no information, so I can't really give you that information. I'm just giving you this one example of one department where I worked. Even in Hyderabad, and you would be probably amused and I'd be trolled if I said this, but I'll say it. I've become thick-skinned, like I said. When we started looking at all the data of the Hyderabad Metro Water Supply and Sewerage Board, when were the pipes laid, what should be replaced and what should be strengthened, what should be laid afresh, etc. Unfortunately, again, the data only goes so far. We don't have adequate data. Leave all that aside. Some things are even more interesting. See, back in 1980s, when Sri N.T. Ramarao was the Chief Minister, the then government had launched a program called as Housing for the Weaker Sections. And since then, every successive government following N.T. Ramaraoji's footsteps had also continued the program, had built houses. So we just, for our own understanding in 2014, we looked at the number of houses that were built in the state of Telangana alone between N.T. Ramaraoji's time and KCRG's time. There were a number of chief ministers, number of governments between 83 and 2014, almost 31 years. You'll not believe this. According to the data available with the government back then in 2014, more than 65 lakh houses were built. The total population of the state itself is 3 crores. And 65 lakh houses have already been built. So our chief minister asked, then why would there be any new demand? Why are you saying there would be any more new demand at all? If this was all true and if this was all accurate and if the books were kept properly, how is this even right? So just to give you examples. So all of this was the situation when we started our journey in 2014. On top of this, each and every time there is a bifurcation. See, even in a household, a joint family, when there is a split, when there are 2 brothers split, who gets what, who gets to keep what, who gets to have the silverware, who gets to have, the debt, etc., etc. That's always a battle, right? So power, electricity was a huge challenge. I think Mishra ji worked as, the Special Chief Secretary for Power as well, so he would know. Who gets which project? Because, Telangana was predominantly consuming more power because we had 30 lakh plus tube wells, bore wells. So we had electricity dependent agriculture here. So we needed more power. Likewise, who gets the rightful share in water? In Godavari, Krishna. Because, like I said, when the 2 states split, prior to that we had Bachawat Tribunal. We've had other tribunals giving out allocations in river waters. But who gets to keep what in river water? Who gets to keep what in electricity? Who gets to keep what in the joint institutions, including possibly the one we are sitting in? So who gets to keep what and who gets to take what? I think that was one big challenge that we had to answer right at the onset. And on top of this, there were a number of promises made by the union government. In the Reorganization Act of the state, there were a number of promises made. There were promises to kickstart and jumpstart rapid industrialization, so therefore promised special incentives to industries and industrial corridors being set up in both states, Andhra and Telangana. There were promises of steel factory being set up at Bayaram because there was enough iron ore, quality iron ore through Steel Authority of India. There was also a promise to set up a locomotive coach factory in Kajipet. There was a promise to make one of our projects, irrigation projects, a national project. There were several other promises that were also made as part of the State Reorganization Act. So the lack of data, the lack of clarity, the fight that goes on with respect to who gets what in terms of water, in terms of power, in terms of other resources, and more importantly, a very inimical, I'm not even saying a non-cooperative, uncooperative union government, but a very inimical, extremely negative union government, which does not believe in the spirit of federalism. You know, they talk about Team India, cooperative federalism, but it's all lip service. They don't really believe in any of that. They'd want the hegemony of union government to continue. They'd want states to be at their mercy. They'd want to basically dominate you in every which way. That's the attitude. So this is the context of when we started our journey. So what did we do so far in 9 years? What did we accomplish? Since this is economics and since this is Abhay Tripathi Memorial Lecture, and Mr. Tripathi, I have learned, was a man of numbers and who worked on taxation, who was brought in a number of reforms in the way the tax department used to work. So let me share with you a few numbers. Back in 2014, when we started our journey, our state's per capita was 1,12,000 rupees. But as of March 31st this year, in 2023, our state has the highest per capita in the country. It's 3,17,000. So starting from 112 to 317. The gross state domestic product of the state of Telangana back in 2014 was 5,05,000 crore. Now, as of March 31st this year, it is 13.27 lakh crore. Highest growth for any state in India. Likewise, I can give you a number of other sectors, but what's more important? How did you achieve this? How did this happen? Why are other states not doing it, etc., etc., are the typical questions that we keep running into. We stuck to the fundamentals. We focused on getting our basics right. We started our journey as a power deficit state. We had only 8,700 megawatts of installed capacity in the state of Telangana. Today, I'm proud to share with you, we have more than 18,000 megawatts of installed capacity, and it is going to grow up to almost 26,000 megawatts come next year. So we have started our journey as a power deficit state, but today we are a proud power surplus state, and eventually will be supplying power to other deficit states in days to come, years to come. Not only power, water. There is no other state in India which has done the kind of work that Telangana has done in water. Now, water, as we all know, is the elixir of life. It empowers everybody, irrespective of who you are. Today, why do we not find any habitation on Mars? Lack of water. Had there been water, I'm sure there would be real estate guys selling plots on Mars and Moon as well. I'm serious. I'm sure there are some people who are already doing that, because Telugus are now dominating Texas as well. I just came off a meeting from a guy from Texas. He was telling me that in Dallas we have 900 Indian restaurants and Telugus are literally ruling the roost, and we are doing real estate all over Texas as well. Water is the elixir of life. It really is what survives humanity. It really is what helps a city grow, a state grow, and a nation grow. So we have taken it very seriously to ensure that every trickle, every drop of water that is rightfully allocated to Telangana gets utilized properly and judiciously. So we have not only ensured that the 46,000 lakes and tanks in Telangana are given the much needed fillip through Mission Kakatiya. We have strengthened these lakes, tanks. We have done it in a mission mode and ensured that every drop of water that trickles in benefits not only that village, but the entire groundwater table around in the surrounding habitations as well. We also have ensured that not just these small resources, but also the large resources that we need, because River Godavari and Krishna run at a much lower, contour compared to the entire state of Telangana. Hyderabad as a city is at 535 meters above sea level. The highest mount in Telangana is at 650 meters, whereas Godavari runs at about 80-90 meters above sea level. So the only way we can actually, use this water and bring this water to our barren fields is by way of lifting them through multiple stages. That's exactly what we have done. People talk about China. People talk about Three Gorges and how well the Chinese work, how quickly they move, how quickly they get things done, etc., etc. But it's unfortunate that not many of us know. And I would appreciate it if you actually Google after you go home, or even now if you want. You can Google and you can just type in the world's largest lift irrigation project. It is in Telangana. The project is called Kaleshwaram, where we lift water from 80 meters above sea level all the way up to 618 meters. Now this project alone provides water for irrigation, water for farmers to about 45 lakh acres. It provides for drinking water needs of Hyderabad. It also has 15% earmarked for industrial consumption. And this is literally a lifeline for the entire northern part of Telangana. Likewise, we have another project ongoing called as Palamuru Rangareddy lift irrigation. Now this is another lifeline for the entire south of Telangana, southern Telangana, which reeled under tremendous drought, which reeled under tremendous distress, and which was actually a sort of a synonym for migration of workers, Palamuru especially, Mahbubnagar especially. But today with Palamuru Rangareddy lift irrigation, which almost has reached now the final lap, and we are looking to ensure that this project gets completed in the next few months, probably by October. Once that is done, you would see water flowing to about 12.5 lakh acres of land for one crop cycle if you take it. And if you take two crop cycles, it would be 25 lakh acres. Just to give you numbers again, since this is economics. Back in 2014, our total agriculture produce, we have our agriculture secretary also sitting here, Mr. Raghunandan Rao. Our total agriculture produce, and especially on paddy, we used to procure about 68 lakh metric tons of paddy in 2014. But as of this year, the procurement rose to 3.5 crore metric tons. Telangana was ranked number 24 among Indian states in paddy production. This year, we are ranked number 2, second only to Punjab. Number 1, I'm sorry, we are ranked number 1, surpassing Punjab. So we have literally become the rice bowl of India. So that is the transformation that this focus on water has helped. Not only have we become the first state in India to give a potable drinking water connection to each and every home, we have secured the water needs of Hyderabad city as well. Hyderabad drinking water needs have been taken care of till the year 2052 by way of bringing water from Krishna and Godavari. Of course, the dream is to improve. The dream is to come from alternate day supply to every day and ensure that eventually we get to a stage, where like the first world, where you get 24/7 water as well. That's the dream. So water has been a very, very important subject, and we've done some amazing things, and we've inspired the nation. Today, after Telangana has completed Mission Bhagirath, Government of India has woken up after several years and has started a new project called as Har Ghar Jal, Jal Jeevan Mission, which is good because, we need to learn from each other. And now they've also embarked on this mission. Gujarat, I'm told, is also there. Goa, I'm told, also has completed 100%. Very proud. As an Indian, as a fellow Indian, as a citizen, I think nothing makes me more proud. Because I remember there was a time when I was a student, there was a saying. People used to say, what Bengal does today, India does tomorrow. Today I can stand here proudly and say what Telangana does today, India does tomorrow. And that is what has been the hallmark of this government. Not only in water. We have done exceptionally well in making sure that even fiscal prudence has been taken into account. A lot of people accuse us of a lot of things. But I can tell you with a lot of confidence, the way we have leveraged the economy, the way the GSDP kept growing, the way the per capita kept growing, has given us scope to raise debt. Has given us scope to raise debt and invest in infrastructure. A lot of people, make a hue and cry, especially the opposition in my state. Every day they keep making a point, or trying to keep making a point, that you've made the state a debt-ridden state. Let me tell you a quick example. There was a time, I am 47, which I call me young, but I'm not young at all. In fact, I'm going through a midlife crisis as we speak. There was a time in my prior generation, or in my father's generation, so if I have to put it more succinctly, where the thinking used to be, even if you're a bureaucrat, the thinking used to be, by the time I retire from my service, I should be able to have a house in Prashasan Nagar or wherever you can afford, and maybe build a house And by the time I retire, I move from a government bungalow, government quarter. I go to, go and retire into a house of my own. That was the thinking. But take a step back and think for a minute. That was the thinking of the prior generation, where people used to be hesitant even to raise a debt. But today, a young guy or a young girl gets a new job in the IT sector here in Hyderabad or Bangalore. What is the first thing they do? They actually pay a fat check. They take a fat paycheck, go to the bank, raise a loan, buy a home, buy a car, in the very first month or second month. So what changed? What changed is this thinking of the typical Indian thinking that there was, say, a few decades ago, that we have to save pie by pie, पैसा जोड़ के, ultimately एक घर खरीदना है. तेलुगु में एक कहावत है, क्योंकि ज़्यादातर लोग यहाँ तेलुगु समझते हैं इसलिए बोल रहा हूँ. इल्लू कट्टी चूड़ू, पेल्ली चेसी चूड़ू. मतलब ये हुआ कि घर बना के देखो, शादी करके देखो. दोनों भी बहुत जिंदगी में बहुत मतलब टफ चैलेंजेस है. ये कहावत थी, इसीलिए कहावत वहां से आई. सवाल ये था कि किसी आदमी को अगर अपना मकान बनाना था, एक घर बनाना था, क्यों उसको मतलब 50 साल पैसा एक पैसा जोड़ के बनाना होता था? क्योंकि हमारी माइंडसेट, हमारी कल्चर ऐसी थी, कंडीशनिंग ऐसी थी कि भाई कुछ भी करो बट कर्ज मत उठाओ, कुछ भी करो, जिंदगी में किसी के आभारी नहीं रहना है, कुछ भी करो, बचपन से सिखाया जाता है. बट द फैक्ट इज, इफ यू लुक एट मोस्ट डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज इन द वर्ल्ड, who do we think are the most developed countries in the world? The United States, Germany, Japan. The top 3 economies are US, China and Japan. Just look at US. Their debt GDP ratio is 116%. The debt GDP ratio of Japan is more than 200%. The debt GDP ratio of India as a country is 59%. The debt GDP ratio of Telangana is 25%. My point is, if you look at 28 states in India and rank them on a debt GSDP ranking, we are ranked in the top, bottom 5. Ranked in the bottom 5. If you ask me, we haven't leveraged our economy enough. What matters is you raise a debt, but where do you invest it? If you raise a debt and invest into ramping up your power infrastructure, moving from a power deficit state to a power sufficient or power surplus state, would that be a wrong investment? Would that not attract more industry? Would that not attract more and more investment? Would that not create more wealth? If you actually invest, if you raise a debt and invest in drinking water needs of the state, are you not cutting down on the out-of-pocket expenditure for health? Are you not cutting down on all the typical news that you would see in a winter season or a rainy season, at the onset of a monsoon? In Telugu, every newspaper used to write, I remember as a kid, Mansam Pattina Manyam, Agency lo Anturogalu, matlab infectious diseases, waterborne diseases, which were rampant in the agency areas and tribes and even the habitations, in rural habitations. Just with one project called Mission Bhagirath, where we invested 40,000 plus crores, today we've been able to take care of all of that healthcare concerns. We've been able to cut down out-of-pocket expenditure for our people. And we've done a magnificent job of becoming truly an aspirational state for the rest of India. Likewise, when we took a project loan and have committed and invested in a project like Kaleshwaram, which, as Richa said, has created wealth outside of Hyderabad, because she was pointing out this lopsided development or lopsided focus on Hyderabad, does it help in the long run? No, it doesn't. Of course, you have to decentralize. Of course, you have to industrialize in other pockets. Of course, you have to focus on rural livelihoods. Of course, you have to create avenues to create wealth outside of Hyderabad. Unless you do that, people are going to migrate, people are going to urbanize, people are going to suburbanize. That is a fact. So, what have we done with that money that we have raised as a debt? Where did we invest? We have invested in power, infrastructure, not power for us, but power infrastructure. We have invested in drinking water infrastructure. We have invested in infrastructure for irrigation. We have invested in industrial infrastructure. After having invested in these rural areas, let me give you an example of what we've accomplished. If somebody was to ask me today, what is the Telangana model? If you have to define in one sentence, I will tell you. Telangana model is unique, it's holistic, it's integrated, it's inclusive, it's balanced. In Telugu, if I have to put it, Samagra, Samikrita, Sammilita, Samatulya, Abhiruddhi, Telangana sadhinchindi. Yatla antara, if you ask me, what do you mean? Are these all fancy fluff words? Can you back it up? I'll tell you how. I just told you that our agri exports have risen. Our agri expansion has happened by more than 119%. 68 lakh metric tons to 3.5 crore metric tons of production of paddy and procurement. That has happened on one side in the rural areas. On the other side in Hyderabad, our IT exports were 56,000 crore. And as of this year, it is 2.41 lakh crore. The number of people working in technology in Hyderabad was 323,000, 3,23,000. As of this year, it's 9,05,000. We have quadrupled our IT exports. We have also done exceedingly well on agri exports and agri expansion. That's a balanced model. We are less than 3% of India in terms of population. We are only 2.5% of India, in fact, if I have to be precise. But we win 30% of the awards when it comes to national panchayati awards or national municipality awards. Is that not proof enough that urban development and rural development are going hand in hand in a very unique way in Telangana? Also, let me add, industrialization has been rampant, as Richa mentioned. We've been able to attract marquee investments through TSI pass and a number of things that we do. But not only has industry grown, environment has not suffered. Typically, all around the world, you would see industry growing and therefore, as a consequence, environment suffering. That has not happened in Telangana. Industry has been growing rapidly, but environmental consciousness of the leader of the state, of our chief minister, is laudable because under his leadership, today, we are the state which has grown the maximum in terms of green cover, 7.7%. 5,13,000 acres of new forest has been created in this state of Telangana, unlike any other state in India. So this is the balanced model I'm talking about. And this is the inclusive society. We have not discriminated anybody. It could be a migrant, it could be a person from rural background or an urban background, no matter where they are from, which part of India they are from, or which part of the world they are from. They've all been made to welcome. I keep saying this and I can't say it enough. Those of you who cover me are probably tired of hearing this, but nevertheless, let me say it. I tell all the investors that I meet that Hyderabad is that melting pot. Because you mentioned migrants, Richa. Hyderabad is that melting pot. Hyderabad is that point of confluence where the north of India meets the south of India. जब कोई हैदराबाद में एक बिहार से या उत्तर प्रदेश से कोई आदमी आता है, उसको ऐसा नहीं लगता है कि कोई और किसी और के घर आए. आपको ये लगेगा चेन्नई में, कोई चेन्नई वाले हैं तो गाली मत दो. पर थोड़ा चेन्नई में थोड़ा आपको महसूस होगा. विजयवाड़ा में भी होगा, सवांग साहब यहाँ पे हैं, उनको पता है. विजयवाड़ा में भी होगा थोड़ा, बट यहाँ पे नहीं होगा. Because everybody feels at home. In fact, growing up, I remember Hyderabad was one unique place where when two strangers met, we used to start off in Hindi. अभी तो ज़्यादा तेलुगु हो गया, but इससे पहले पूरा हिंदी चलता था. क्योंकि दो स्ट्रेंजर अगर अजनबी मिलते थे, तो हमारी बात शुरुआत होती थी हिंदी में या उर्दू में, दक्खनी उर्दू, which we are very well known for. Let me also tell you, it is not just a place where north of India meets the south of India. It is also a place where opportunity meets talent. It's a place where dosa meets paratha. It's a place where data sciences meets life sciences. It's a place where technology meets biology. That is why Hyderabad is attractive, and that is why we have to keep it intact in the cosmopolitan fabric that you touched upon. It was imperative that we remain inclusive. We didn't focus on the nonsense that others seem to be hell-bent on, focusing on. Yes, India has many issues. We are a pluralistic society, we are a culturally very, very diverse society, and we are a very, very opinionated society also. हर किसी का अपना opinion है, very strong opinion है, जानता हूँ. But why can't we focus on getting our basics right? जब हिंदुस्तान में basic चीज नहीं है, बिजली नहीं है, सड़क नहीं है, पानी नहीं है, और कई सारे प्रॉब्लम है, उसको छोड़ के यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड पे लगे हैं. कोई और किसी और चीज पे लगा है, हलाल पे, हिजाब पे, बकवास पे. हम बस यही चाहते हैं, हमने ये किया 9 साल में. We focused on none of this. We made sure that the basics that concern all of us as humans, cutting across our divides and everything else that divides us, the religion, the caste, the sex, the gender barriers, the geographical barriers and other things, we did not focus on any of that. We focused on what unites us. We focused on the lowest common denominator, and we got that right. I can give you a number of examples on why. Because when Prime Minister comes here to visit Telangana, Prime Minister जब आए थे 2014 में, क्योंकि आपने कोऑपरेटिव फेडरलिज्म की और स्टेट और सेंटर की रिलेशन की आपने जिक्र की, तो मैं बोलना चाहता हूं, हमें भी कुछ उम्मीद थे उनसे. 2014 में जब प्रधानमंत्री बने, we were hopeful. कि मोदी जी पता नहीं गुजरात में क्या क्या कुछ करके आए हैं, कुछ एक मॉडल था, एक नमूना था, देश को उन्होंने दिखाया था कि गुजरात में कुछ चमत्कार उन्होंने कर दिया तो पूरा देश में भी चमत्कार हो जाएगा, कुछ अद्भुत हो जाएगा, कुछ मिराक्युलस हो जाएगा। हमें भी उम्मीद था जैसे सारे हिंदुस्तान को था। But when we started seeing through things, and we supported him, let me tell you, we supported him on a number of things, and some of which we regret, of course. Demonetization, we supported him. Our chief minister called him, he said, what is this decision? Why did you do it? Why are you doing this, I mean, ad hoc, all of a sudden, random thing? Why did you do it? He said, हमें संपूर्ण क्रांति की तरफ चलना है, मुझे डिजिटल इस पे चलना है, और मैं आपको उम्मीद देता हूं कि मैं काम करूंगा. This was what he told our chief minister. So we supported demonetization. When he said one nation, one tax, we supported him. We supported him on a number of other things. When he made Venkaiah Naidu ji our vice president, we supported him. We voted for him. We voted for President Ramnath Kovind as well. हमने तो उनका जितना मदद करना था उतना किया, बट उन्होंने क्या किया? एक नया राज्य जो बना तेलंगाना, इसको ना सिर्फ एक बार भी, मतलब he has not even kept one promise that was made in the act, in the parliament. Not even, those promises that have been made, but even the recommendations made by a planning body like Niti Aayog, unfortunately have been completely rejected and negated. Niti Aayog has made a categorical recommendation saying Mission Bhagirath is a fantastic program and that needs to be supported by Government of India. So please grant a sum of rupees 19,000 to the state of Telangana, 19,000 crore to the state of Telangana. Prime Minister and his cabinet did not heed to the advice. Then Niti Aayog also recommended that Mission Kakatiya is a brilliant program. Please allocate and give a grant of rupees 5,000 crore. Again negated, not a single word of appreciation. Prime Minister तो बोलते हैं मन की बात में काफी कुछ बोलते हैं, वोकल फॉर लोकल बोलते हैं, काफी कुछ बोलते हैं, बट पता नहीं क्यों, बट परफॉर्मिंग स्टेट को रिकॉग्नाइज नहीं करना चाहते हैं फॉर पेटी पॉलिटिकल कंसिडरेशंस, आई प्रिज्यूम. When his own state in India, of which he is the Prime Minister, builds the world's largest lift irrigation project, this Prime Minister does not have the dignity to compliment the state for its brilliant efforts. Now, what more do I say about this Prime Minister and this government? So we have no hope of this union government, and we certainly will take them on, and we will ensure that he is voted out at any cost in the next election at the hustlings. Having said that, we did not depend on the union government, or we did not depend on any of their endowments towards the state of Telangana. We have struggled, we have endeavored, we have moved on. We did not look at them at all. In fact, that's why, let me give you a few examples of what we've accomplished. In fact, we are the best rural development model in India with 100% ODF plus villages. Only state that can boast of this. Again, first state to have provided drinking water to all homes and inspired Jal Jeevan Mission. We are the state in India that has completed the world's largest lift irrigation project, Kaleshwaram project. We're the first highest paddy producer in India now, surpassing Punjab, moving from 24th rank to first rank. And now let me also tell you something that might be staggering for those of you who are not connected to the technology world. Last 2 years in a row, we have surpassed Bangalore in creation of technology jobs. Last year, out of the total technology jobs created in India, this is not my data, this is NASSCOM's data. You can cross-check, you can verify. Out of the total technology jobs created in India, 33% were from Hyderabad, followed by Bangalore. But this year, it's even more impressive. Out of the total tech jobs created in India, 44% of the jobs were created from Hyderabad and Telangana. Literally, 1 in every second job that is created in India comes from this brilliant city and brilliant state called Telangana. Let me also tell you, highest green cover growth in India for any state, 7.7%, creation of 5,13,000 hectares of new forest. We are also a top contributor to India's GDP. In fact, like I said, we are 2.5% of India's population, but our contribution to GDP is 5%. We literally punch double our weight. कभी-कभी एक बार मैं देखता हूं कि निर्मला सीतारामन जी आके आती है, आके बोलती हैं कि हम देने वाले हैं, हम दे रहे हैं, हमने ये दिया, वो दिया. बहुत दुख पहुंचता है. क्योंकि if you go look at the constitution, India is a union of states. And when we have this representative of a federal government coming here and telling us कि हमने आपको कुछ दे दिया, जैसा कि आपने हमें कुछ भी किया, ऐसा कुछ दिया, एक फकर के साथ, एक गर्व के साथ जब कहते हैं, बहुत गुस्सा भी आता है, बहुत ठेस भी पहुंचती है, क्योंकि fact is Telangana gives more to the country than it gets. For every rupee that we contribute, we get only 46 paisa back. And when we point this, we are called बहुत सारे name calling होती है, उसमें मैं नहीं जाना चाहता, but बहुत सारे चीज बोलते हैं. The fact is we contribute more to the nation than what we get back from Delhi. Let me also tell you, we are ranked number 3 in India on the ease of doing business. We are certainly the state with the best industrial policy in India. We are home to India's largest textile park, the Kakatiya Mega Textile Park, by the way, which inspired PM Mitra recently. हमने 2017 में चालू किया था काकतिया मेगा टेक्सटाइल पार्क और भारत सरकार अभी उठ के आई नींद से और पीएम मित्रा उन्होंने लॉन्च किया, अच्छी बात है. We are vaccine hub of the world. We produce 1/3 of human vaccines. We produce 900 crore vaccines from Hyderabad. Prime Minister साहब बोलते रहते हैं बीच-बीच में कि India is a pharmacy of the world, but he forgets to mention the word Telangana and Hyderabad. उनको याद नहीं आता, but मैं याद दिलाना चाहता हूं कि 40% pharmaceuticals भारत के हैदराबाद से आते हैं और 33% of vaccines in the world also come from here. We are the second largest renewable energy producer in India. From a mere 50 megawatts, Ajay Mishra ji will know this well. In 2014, we now produce more than 5,000 megawatts of renewable energy. And if you look at us by land mass, we are the number 1 state in India with respect to renewable energy. We are also the state which is the only state in India which is going to have a medical college and a medical hospital, a government super specialty hospital in each and every district in the country. And this again with zero support from Government of India. We also have a number of other things that I can tell you, but the last thing I'll tell you, अगर कहते हैं कि अगर किसी को बताना है आपको जाके बाहर कि तेलंगाना ने क्या किया, तो आप उनको बस ये बोल दें कि अगर बाकी का भारत भी, the other 27 states in India, if they performed as well as we did, we would have been a 5 trillion economy already and not languishing at 3.4 trillion as is the case today. So all of this has happened despite COVID, despite the challenges of being a young state, despite many things that were working against us, including an inimical union government. But I'm proud that, our state has done well. But I'm not going to make a tall claim and say that, we've matched the US or Japan or any of these first world countries. We have a long way to go. But certainly, relatively speaking, we are the best performing state in India, no matter what parameter you look at. Education, health, any social development indices, any parameter that you take, we are the best performing state. And I'm a proud partner in the growth story of this state. And I hope and I pray that, the lecture that is being organized today in memory of Sri Abhay Tripathi, and for all of those who have attended here, I hope this was informative. I hope this was a few things for you to pick up and probably spread the good word. Thank you. Jai Telangana.
Thank you, Minister. My father would definitely have appreciated your candidness, and I think we're taking away that good economics is good politics. I would like to invite Mr. Ravikant Reddy to moderate the next part of the program, which is an open house question-answer session. There are 4 members of the organizing team in the audience with mics. So if you have questions for the minister, do raise your hand. Mr. Reddy will recognize you and you can pose your questions to him.
Yeah, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Minister, for the wonderful lecture. Minister has just 30 minutes because he has an urgent meeting to attend. So we'll take questions from the audience as well as people who are watching us online. Before that, I would like to start with an anecdote. In 2006, I was covering a program at Arts College as a reporter. It was a Telangana agitation, a program related to Telangana agitation. And there were lots of guys sitting on the stage. I was just one among the audience. And when I turned back, there were a lot of people hanging around one handsome young man sitting in the audience. And when I asked who was that, then they said he is son of Mr. K. Chandrasekhar Rao. And nobody knew him at that time. So I just went and introduced myself. I said, sir, I'm Ravikant Reddy from the Hindu. I just gave my card. In fact, I wrote a small piece also in the Hindu at that time, that how Mr. KCR's son has entered into Telangana politics. But he could have sat on the stage itself on that day, being the son of Mr. Chandrasekhar, who was leading the agitation. So that was, being a young man, though he has just revealed his age as 47, he was 30 at that time. He's still young and is the leading light of the youngest state in the country. Thank you very much, sir. And we'd like to take questions from the audience first. The minister actually, I always see him in bluish and grayish colors because maybe he likes that color. So we'll take a question from any lady who is wearing that color. To start with. Anyone? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Any lady? Yeah, I think, yeah, she's, please.
Thank you so much for that. After this state economics lecture, I'm going to get a home economics lecture because you said, ghar dekho and shadi karke dekho. My mother made eye contact with me. So thank you for that.
The trick when you speak in front of your parents is always never look their way. Always look the other side.
I couldn't avoid. But a very intriguing question that you've actually raised in your speech was vis-a-vis center-state relations. And I'm very curious to sort of understand the center-state relationship vis-a-vis finances and public finances, because here's the thing. State development also is a high revenue contributor to the sort of state exchequer of India, and not necessarily GDP, and that obviously looks at India's development. And I'm very curious to understand if there is sort of state policy that you would sort of take on to develop center-state relationships, or you think that it is something that the center should take on and involve as a part of their political agenda.
Well, thank you. Great question. If I understood it correctly, is it audible? Yeah. If I understood it correctly, I think, when Prime Minister Modi, before 2014, as we all know, he was a successful chief minister of 3 consecutive terms from Gujarat. A lot of times in digital world, what happens is your past really catches up with you. So what happens is when Prime Minister Modi, when he talks about something vis-a-vis a state or an institution, typically my team and a lot of other teams also dig up what he had said when he was the chief minister. So for instance, today you see the governors interfering in a big way, especially in non-BJP states. The governors literally have become an impediment to growth. That's what they've become, the hurdles. You send a bill from a democratically elected assembly in the state, governor gets to sit on it forever without any valid reason or no rhyme, no reason. Prime Minister Modi, when he was the chief minister, said, Sarkariya Commission ke sifaris amal karo, or active politician ko kabhi politics mein mat ghasito. But what happens in Telangana? The BJP president of Tamil Nadu, till today, becomes the governor of Telangana next day. What happens as a result? Politics will also spread to Raj Bhavan. Raj Bhavan will start working as an extension. And when this happens, the acrimony that typically tends to come in is but unavoidable. Having said that, there are occasions, when we have to raise above petty political considerations and basically stand up, with the union government and, give them the much needed support, etc. For example, what happened yesterday in Manipur was horrible, horrific, and anybody who has a heart or, who really feels as a human was put to shame, and we had to hang our heads in shame. These are occasions when you would want to shed any ambivalence and stand with government of India. Say, also there are sometimes, there are tensions on the border. You would want to stand with them and say, okay, we as Indians, India comes first. Of course we ought to do that. There are earthquakes, natural disasters. So we all have to raise above petty political considerations and work with them. But same spirit also has to be exhibited by government of India. See, the fundamental thing we all need to understand is, Bharat hai kya? 28 राज अगर है तो कुल मिला के भारत है. ऐसा नहीं है कि मोदी साहब के लिए कोई और राज है. He is administering the same country that we are all living in. So the same state that is being administered by Sri KTR as the chief minister, Modi ji is also the prime minister of that. So the fact is, the stronger the states are, the stronger the country is. The more you empower them, the more you decentralize, the more better it is. But also it is a fact that, each person, जब मैं ये सब कुछ बोल रहा हूँ, decentralize करो, ये करो, वो करो, अगर मुझे ले जाके वहाँ बिठाओ, तो मैं भी शायद बदल जाऊंगा, मैं भी बोलूंगा पूरा सेंट्रलाइज करो. शायद it's a role problem and not the person problem. But if India has to grow, if India really has to move up and achieve that first world ambition that has been laid out so explicitly by every prime minister, I think we have no choice but to confine our elections to a certain window. एक साल पॉलिटिक्स करो, 4 साल इकोनॉमिक्स पे ध्यान दो, तब जाके कुछ काम होगा, वरना नहीं होगा.
Okay, the next question.
Thank you, Ravikant Reddy sir. This is Dr. Ramesh Kanniganti. Sir, what an young, dynamic, and then very impactful minister you have been. I have been observing it, sir, for the last decade. The state of Telangana people are so lucky to have you as a brand ambassador.
Let the question be
yes,
brief
I'm coming.
and, yeah,
Sir, I have to tell you this adjective because I have been waiting for this to tell you, sir. Maybe I chose this occasion.
Sir, నేను మీకు అసెంబ్లీ టికెట్ ఇవ్వలేను సార్.
No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. I'm an academic, sir. I'm an academic. So, I run a think tank on Center for Human Security Studies. Ravikant Reddy, sir, you know it. Telangana, I have been watching for the last few years. Freedom from want, freedom from fear, freedom to live with dignity are the cornerstones of human security, which is exactly evident in the state of Telangana. This I have been observing, sir, without being any exaggerative in my observation.
Thank you, Ramesh Garu. Thank you so much. Very kind of you to say that. Like I said, we have been a very inclusive government. One of the things, I have to share this anecdotal experience of mine with you. As soon as the state was formed, like I said, there were a lot of apprehensions. So I was invited to an event at the film industry, Producers Council. So when I was going there, I asked the Chief Minister, I said, sir, what should I be saying to allay any fears, allay any apprehensions that they might have? What should I say? He simply said one thing. He said, ask these guys to stop thinking about being a Telugu film industry. Ask them, whether they have it in them to become a South Asian, hub for South Asia, to make Hyderabad a hub for South Asia. Yes. So that was his perspective all along. So he always told me, and told all of us, all of my colleagues as well, he said, once the state becomes a reality, then people are going to ask you for development. People are going to ask you to fulfill all the promises you've made on water, on funds, on employment, on everything else that you've put out in your manifesto. So he said, focus on that. Don't focus on anything that divides us, but focus on everything that unites us. And that's exactly what we have done, and thank you for your kind words.
So the food, the
Yeah,
health,
okay,
the
Ramesh, I
water-
think there were a lot of people waiting.
Okay, okay.
So before the mic goes to that lady, there's a question online. Someone can, please, yeah. The question coming from Delhi, sir, from Business Line, Mr. Srivats. His question is, as a young state, how do you plan to ensure that you get a fair share of central tax devolution in the years to come to supplement states' own resources for development? Is there a case to redefine the tax devolution formula and relook at the criteria underlying it?
See, tax devolution is a constitutional right. I don't think the center is doing us any favors by actually bestowing on us, what we are owed as per constitution. So what we get today is nothing but, a constitutional right of ours. Besides this, because Richa mentioned cess, I have to tell you this. She said cess. Let me help you understand this one, teeny weeny bit which might have missed your observation. Back in 2014, when Prime Minister Modi took office in Delhi, the price of crude oil per barrel, let me remind you, was about $100. But the price of petrol was about 70 rupees. The price of diesel was, I think, about 65 or 60. I don't remember exactly. But the price of crude oil was around $100. But now, 8 years later, the price of crude oil, of course, it keeps wavering every day. But now, on an average, if you look at the last 3 months, it's around $60. What happened to the fuel prices? They are around 115 in Telangana, 112 in Karnataka, 100 somewhere else, 100 and odd something, some other place. What happened? What happened is, Government of India came out with this 2 additional cess, additional excise duty, and a cess that has been imposed on us. And let me tell you, we do not get anything out of this cess. The states are denied their rightful share. Because of these cesses, these additional excise duties, we do not get anything that we are supposed to get. Had it been another form of tax, we would have had that 41% devolution that you just mentioned. But they're denying us, depriving us this, and they've garnered more than 35 lakh crores now in the last 6 years to the union kitty. And they've not really, opened their purse strings to any of the states. So this is a fact. These are the things that they've resorted to. While they said, 10% हमने बढ़ा दिया devolution. But क्या किया? अलग अलग तरीका ढूंढ निकाला जिसमें से पैसा कैसे काटना है, राज को कैसे सताना है, उसका एक तरकीब निकाला। आज जब हम लोग बोलते हैं मोदी जी को कि सर जब 100 रुपया बैरल था, एक क्रूड ऑयल बैरल था, 70 रुपए का पेट्रोल था पूरा देश में, आज 115 110 है, तो क्यों ना आप पूरे देश में सेस स्क्रैप करो, एक्साइज ड्यूटी स्क्रैप करो, क्यों ना फिर 70 रुपए में देंगे। मुझे इतना ट्रोलिंग होता है इस बात पे, लोग बोलते हैं कि पहले तुम अपने राज में तो करो। मतलब क्या हुआ, आप स्क्वीज करोगे आप और कम करें हम, ये कहां की रीत है। सो यू विल कंटिन्यू टू पिंच द पीपल ऑफ दिस कंट्री एंड यू वांट द स्टेट्स टू get penalized for it. You want the states to actually dry off their coffers and again bleed. And you know what happens is effectively when the state starts bleeding, Modi ji will come here and give a lecture भाषण की देखिए इनको चलाने नहीं आता, पूरा राज को बर्बाद कर दिया. So this is their agenda. They squeeze you, they strangle you, and then they come and tell you that these guys are not performing. So point is, 100% the constitutional right which is owed to every state, अगर उसको तो देना ही देना है, उसमें कोई चारा नहीं है उनके पास. साथ ही साथ अगर भारत को आगे बढ़ना है, we need to start looking at radically leveraging our economy. Today in Hyderabad Metro, we have Canadian pensioners' money here. Canada Pension Fund invests in Hyderabad Metro. Where is Indian pensioners' money? कोई बैंक में, कोई एफडी में बैठा है, 30 लाख करोड़ बैठा है वहां पे. भारत जैसे देश को अगर आगे बढ़ना है, do we not need this money to invest in infrastructure? You know, there's a great saying of President John F. Kennedy that I would like all of you to dwell on for a bit. I read this for the first time when I landed in the US. John F. Kennedy very, very famously said, America does not have good infrastructure, does not have good infrastructure because it is rich. America is rich because it has good infrastructure. So it is incumbent upon us to understand that investments into infrastructure, power, roads, ports, airports, seaports, all of these are essential if you have to move up to the second world and the first world league. And unless government of India really works with us. See, for instance, if we have to, have inland waterways happen all the way to Bhadrachalam, Richa said we are landlocked. There is only so much you can do. She said, no, we can do more. We can bring a vessel all the way up to Bhadrachalam, to the border of Telangana, provided union government facilitates and works with Andhra and Telangana governments and invest together. We can actually reduce the transportation cost. We can create more industries. But can this happen with Prime Minister Modi? He'll want to take everything to Gujarat or Uttar Pradesh because that's where all the assembly or parliament seats which are voting for him are. Unfortunately, that's how it's been.
I will take a question from that lady. Let the question be brief, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am.
Very brief. Brand KTR Garu and brand Telangana are synonymous.
Thank you, ma'am.
Whether it is 1 minute, 5 minutes, or 45 minutes, it's always a privilege to listen to you.
Kind of you,
Having said that, I work in public health, and I have seen how a flood was monitored, including switching off the electricity. The poles were monitored, and the last mine was taken care of by the state so that nobody got electrocuted. The question from you is, or you didn't touch on the communications that you did present throughout Telangana. You didn't touch on what you have done for youth and skilling in Telangana. Would you want to share that?
Absolutely, ma'am. Great question. But because Richa gave me only 40 minutes, I figured I'll squeeze in as much as I can. See, we also created an institution called as TASK in Telangana, called as Telangana Academy for Skills and Knowledge, through which, in fact, on the 8th of July, we celebrated the World Skills Day as well. Unfortunately, I missed the event. But this institution has been working superbly because we've trained so far more than 800,000 kids. And we work with number of colleges, we work with number of training partners. Because, a lot of our youngsters, no matter where they come from, which part of Telangana or India they come from, or even Andhra they come from, they do have the information, they do have the knowledge, the wealth of information that is required. But when it comes to presenting it, the soft skills, the communication skills, that's where they typically lack. So we've sort of set this up as a finishing school, and it has been doing really well. But of course, there's plenty more to do. In fact, one of the things I firmly believe is, in life, especially as it gets more and more competitive, the only way you can stay up to date and relevant is by skilling, reskilling, and upskilling. And that applies to all of us, bureaucrats, politicians, students, employers, employees. I think all of us, unless we upgrade ourselves, unless we upskill ourselves, there's no choice. So we are constantly looking to partner and create more centers of excellence. We're in the process of setting up a life sciences university. We're also in the process of setting up an aviation university, nascent stages, but we'll also do that. We're also in the process of setting up a university focused on sustainable mobility. So all of this, I mean, education plus skill building and capacity building is something that we have tried to do as much as we can, but there's plenty more to do, I assure you, and we'll stay focused on that. Thank you, ma'am.
We'll take a question from Pooja, who has come all the way from Delhi. Can someone pass on the mic to Pooja?
Have I hurt your Delhi sensibilities?
Not at
I
all.
hope I have.
Not at all. Congratulations, Minister, on being a very high-performing state. I have to confess, I didn't know as much about your state, so your lecture has been very informative for me. My question is that you very rightly have a lot of, let's say, complaints against Delhi and the treatment given by Delhi and basically the central government to even high-performing states such as yours. From what I understand, you said that it is probably the nature of center-state relations that leads to something like this. It isn't the personality, because you said that if you were in this position, perhaps you would also be sitting from there.
I think the position changes. One is what I was going.
Right. So my question is that given you're such a high-performing state, given additional resources which are your due, which you should get, can help you perform even better and do more for your people. Is there, and perhaps there are more states who have similar concerns, do you see scope for or need for some sort of an institutional platform for the states to get together and take up issues with the center? Because just waiting for an electoral cycle to be completed and change faces, or perhaps hope for a coalition where regional parties or smaller states have more voice and bargaining power, an institutional mechanism may work. Now, traditionally, we have had certain institutional mechanisms, and people have had issues with them, rightly so. They have not lived up to the expectations. There's always scope for improvement, etc. But given what you have described, without even the central government support, you've done a lot. You can perhaps do a lot more. What is the solution to this other than just waiting for an electoral cycle to perhaps create scope for a coalition government where you get a more political voice?
Well, there's a word in Constitution called as tyranny of majority. Sometimes what happens is when you have a brute power, when you have bulldozing numbers in Parliament or GST Council, you just get bulldozed. And bulldozer राज का तो आपको जानते हो, दिल्ली में आपको तो आपके एकदम बगल में चल रहा है. तो बुलडोजिंग मेजॉरिटी जो आज हिंदुस्तान में है, कभी का एक बार शायद वो अच्छा नहीं है, क्योंकि हम लोग पहले से ये मानते थे कि coalition governments probably are not stable, so therefore they are not right. So, one party getting full majority may be a good thing. But looking at what's happening 9 years in India, even before that, if I may add, not just 9 years, but even before that, I'd like to say that one party which has always had complete majority has not been able to deliver justice for everybody, so to speak. I'll give you two examples. Hyderabad is one city which has got a number of defense public sector undertakings, including President Abdul Kalam. He worked here for 12 years as part of the Missile Development Program. And there's a number of institutions. Even current advisor to government for Minister of Defense is Dr. Satish Reddy, who's also from Hyderabad. So when this concept of defense industrial production corridor was being mooted, the defense minister then was Nirmala ji. So I approached the union government with a lot of hope, saying, ma'am, Hyderabad and Bangalore. Bangalore is where HAL is, a number of other institutions are, and Hyderabad has a number of such institutions. So to give much needed boost to the existing ecosystem, this would be an ideal location. She said no. I said no, मतलब कुछ बात करेंगे आप या चर्चा करेंगे, ऐसा कुछ होगा, कोई बैठक बुलाएंगे, कुछ होगा? She said no, the decision is already made. I said on what grounds? She said we have made the decision, the union cabinet has decided. I said, where is it decided? She said, Bundelkhand. I said, what the hell is there in Bundelkhand that you want to go and set it up there? She said, what do you mean? I said, yeah, what is there? Is there like a factory? Is there a defense public sector undertaking? What is there that you would want to attract the world to Bundelkhand and set it up, other than the fact that they have a number of parliament seats which are voted for BJP? What is there? She said, no, these are not political considerations. You have to understand, you have to look at the bigger picture. So Hyderabad is developed, so you don't want other parts to develop. Is that what it is? I said, no, but you have to understand that if you have to catch the early warm, you have to move fast and therefore existing ecosystem matters. She wouldn't get it. Same has been the mode with every single minister that I've dealt with in Government of India. They think that they know it all. With this they know it all mindset, I know it all mindset, things are not going to work. अगर आप किसी और की सुनना नहीं चाहते हो, किसी और के साथ बैठ के बात नहीं करना चाहते हो, कुछ नहीं होना है आगे जाके. पीयूष गोयल आए थे एक बार यहाँ पे. हमने एक इंडोर मीटिंग बुलाई, ऑल इंडिया मेडिकल डिवाइसेस मैन्युफैक्चरर्स एसोसिएशन. As part of this meeting, Piyush gave a very nice lecture on how nationalism should take center stage and how सभी मैन्युफैक्चरर्स को यहाँ पे हर कुछ करना चाहिए, हम लोग 80% बाहर से इंपोर्ट करते हैं. It was indoor meeting, no press, so none of them could report anything. So one of the manufacturers got up. They said, "Sir, but एक बात आपसे कहते हैं." मैंने कहा क्या? बोले कि मैं आज अगर चाइना में ग्लव खरीदता हूँ, मास्क खरीदता हूँ और इंपोर्ट करता हूँ हजारों मैल, तब भी वो सस्ता पड़ता है यहाँ बनाने से. मैं क्या करूँ बताओ आप. आपने कहा अच्छी बात है, भारत के हो, भारत के लिए बनाओ, ठीक है, बट अगर वहां से लाता हूँ तो सस्ता पड़ता है. आपके इंपोर्ट ड्यूटी, रॉ मटेरियल लाने में इतना मतलब जो अड़चने हैं, इसको हटाओ, इस पे ध्यान दो. ही वुडंट लिसन, ही वुड से नहीं, क्या कह रहे हो आप, सोचो भारत की तरह सोचो. ठीक है यार, हम सभी इंडियन हैं, कौन कह रहा है कि हम कहीं और देश से हैं, हम सभी चाहते हैं कि भारत तरक्की करे. द पॉइंट आई एम ट्राइंग टू मेक इज, आई नो इट ऑल माइंडसेट डज नॉट वर्क. See, we've had institutions like Planning Commission and Niti Aayog precisely for this. But we haven't sat with Niti Aayog in the last 4 years. We refused any meeting with Niti Aayog. Our Chief Minister said, there's no point in meeting these fellows. They were very insulted. They felt humiliated. But we said, what is the point of talking to you when none of your recommendations are honored by Government of India? They're thrown in a dustbin. So what is the point of talking to you?
No,
so the answer, I'm eventually coming to it. The answer is, if you ask me straight, I think some sort of a government where you would have, ideally speaking, this is a utopian world, maybe not cut out for India in 2024, but I'm trying to paint a utopian picture. Maybe having experts from various fields come in, who will raise above petty political consideration and do a SWOT analysis of India and say, तेलंगाना क्या कर सकता है, आंध्रा क्या कर सकता है, महाराष्ट्र का स्ट्रेंथ क्या है, गोवा का स्ट्रेंथ क्या है, इस पे प्ले करो और जो स्किल जिसका है उसके लिए उसको एक कंसिडरेशन और उसके लिए कोई पार्क बना रहे हो तो वहां दे दो. जहां स्ट्रेंथ है वहां ताकत लगाओ, रिसोर्स लगाओ, क्योंकि कम रिसोर्स है. तो अनलेस ऐसा एक माहौल बने where SWOT analysis done for the entire country and we play to our strengths and we also offset our weaknesses by way of leveraging our existing resources. But I don't think that is going to happen anytime soon. So whatever I just said will remain on paper for a very long time.
If I may just follow up,
Yes,
my point was, I'm fully sensitive to each and everything that you have said. My point only was that, what should be the mechanism to carry out exactly this conversation that you're saying, because the current mechanisms are not working. The current institutions, as you said, the Niti Aayog, the GST Council, floor of House and Parliament, all of that is not working. Cabinet is not working. So one solution seems to be for there to be a coalition government in the center. But it may again become it may get hijacked by exactly the same kind of interests that currently work. Coalition is no guarantee against majoritarianism. So is there scope for the southern states or any states to come together and for them to create an institution, because Niti Aayog, etc., all center created institutions.
अगर सदर्न स्टेट्स साथ आएंगे ना, कल से हमें लेबल दिया जाएगा कि हम लोग देश से अलग होना चाहते हैं.
So let me put it differently.
Careful about that.
So let me put it differently.
Let me tell you one thing. I know, I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. There is a huge, and I'm presuming you're a journalist, Pooja, so, and all the journalists here are going to hate me for saying this. The media in this country has lost its spine. There is no way the media in this country is able to question the Prime Minister or his government, unfortunately. और दूसरी बात, there is a heavy information vacuum in this country. मुझे कभी का एक बार एक समाचार लेने के लिए, एक न्यूज़ लेने के लिए 4-5 न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ना पड़ता है कि है कहाँ न्यूज़ यार. एक पेपर पढ़ोगे तो बोलेगा वो कि कुछ और हो रहा है, दूसरा बोलेगा न्यूज़पेपर कम हो गया, व्यूज़ पेपर ज़्यादा हो गया, दूसरी बार. तो इसीलिए the only instrument that I depend on today is social media, because that has become sort of more democratic. So I think crowdsourcing of ideas is not such a bad idea. If I was given an opportunity, I would certainly do that. In fact, in my current role as well, even this morning, one commuter from Hyderabad texted saying, or tweeted saying, boss, ऐसा करो कि तुम लोग citizen awareness groups बनाओ, citizen volunteers को add करो. I take up suggestions. I try and do that as much as I can in the limited time that I have. But I hope and pray that government, whoever is in government in 24, will also have the wisdom It will dawn on them. I hope it dawns on them to also be democratic, to also be, crowdsourcing ideas from no matter where they come from, which corner of India, and pick up on best practices. शर्माने की क्या बात है? अगर तेलंगाना कुछ अच्छा कर रहा है तो पिकअप करो, और कोई और कुछ अच्छा कर रहा है तो हमें बताओ कि गोवा ने अच्छा कुछ किया, तेलंगाना आप भी करो. ये बड़े ब्रदर, बिग ब्रदर वाला काम जिसको करना चाहिए ना, वो नहीं कर रहा है. वो बिजी है बाहर घूमने में. तो इसीलिए उनको कभी का एक बार इंडिया भी वापस आना चाहिए, काम करना चाहिए, और ग्राउंड लेवल काम करना चाहिए.
Sir.
Okay, we have just time for one question.
Okay.
So maybe this young man can take this.
Sir, I am Arvind. We are the MES batch going the foundation course here. I am from Bhimavaram. I have seen many of my people migrating from there to Hyderabad for businesses. Though we are the #1 state in ease of doing business, had from 3 years back. So can you tell it in your words that what made the Hyderabad so welcoming to them? So
I'll tell you one thing though. See, Andhra has its own strengths. Telangana has its own strengths. Richa alluded to sibling rivalry. We have no rivalry with Andhra. In fact, I wish the very best for Andhra because they are my sister state. Without a question, I hope and pray they do as well as we do. In fact, in some counts, they actually do better than us as well. See, Andhra has its own strengths. When I say its own strengths, they have a huge coastline. They have a number of maritime ports. They have a large number of towns which in fact, in Telangana we don't have. We have a Hyderabad, but you have number of other towns. For example, you have Rajahmundry, you have Tirupati, you have Kurnool, you have Kadapa, you have Vijayawada, and I can go on this. Vizag, of course. So all of these tier 2 cities that you have are a huge asset to you. I'm very confident that in the current government and the previous government and whoever is running the government in Andhra, they have done their best, and I'm sure they'll continue to do their best. And Hyderabad, like I said, is not just for people of Telangana. Hyderabad will continue to remain an India city. In fact, our ambition, our Chief Minister's ambition, is to make Hyderabad a global metropolis. So if I have to make it a global metropolis, I can't say I'll shut my doors to people from Bhimavaram or Rajahmundry or Kodad. You have to have everybody come here in search of opportunities. But as long as you're able to provide the same opportunities elsewhere in a decentralized fashion, it works well for all of us, is what I would like to believe.
I would like to add one more line, sir.
Yeah, I think
just one more line.
So time is running out and the minister has to go.
I
But
kind of envy that
please.
you got enlisted to the Telangana during the SAT allocations.
Sorry?
I kind of envy that you got enlisted into Telangana during the SAT allocation.
I was born here, so I wasn't enlisted.
Still, you are welcome here.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. And before, sir, I would like to take some objection to the minister's statement on media.
Media గురించా?
Yeah, so I
నేనేమన్నాను?
request him to read the Hindu.
ఒక్క నిమిషం. ఏమన్నాను నేను? తప్ప ఏమన్నాను? మీరు వాస్తవాల్ని వాస్తవాలుగా రాయట్లేదు, వార్తల్ని వార్తలుగా రాయట్లేదు. యూ షుడ్ ఆల్సో సీ, మేము ఇన్ని మాటలు పడతాం రోజు, మీరు ఒక్క మాటకే ఉలికి పడితే ఎట్లా? అప్పుడప్పుడు మీరు కూడా తట్టుకోవాలా, మాతో నిలబడాలి.
One last thing, and as I conclude this session, and just a minute.
If you could all settle down, please. We just have a quick token of our appreciation we would like to present to the minister. I would like to invite Mr. Benhur Eka also on stage. I would also now like to present.
With the jet engines, did you notice there was nothing official? It was all sources say this, sources say that. Nobody was willing to come on the record.
Everything is always in the details, and I can tell you one thing, no matter what happens, nobody is going to give you 100% technology transfer.
CAA had nothing to do with Indian Muslims and yet burned the country down for a year. We are looking at a civil war if the government does not handle this properly.
What these guys, the Congress guys always do. वाजपेयी जी ने बोला था तो वाजपेयी कोई खुदा थे कि उन्होंने बोल दिया था तो जो कुछ उन्होंने बोला हमको फॉलो करना है.
BJP is such a nepotistic party, they will never send their biggest vote getter to jail. Mark my words.
But I think the BJP, whatever damage it would cause to Rahul Gandhi, it has done. Now Rahul Gandhi's perception amongst the common man has changed.
तूने सर्वे किया?
देख भाई तू 2024 की बात ही भूल जा. You should start thinking of 2034 because तब तक तेरी पार्टी आने वाली नहीं है.
Congress will mock BJP leaders, but they will never mock how Kharge, Mr. Kharge speaks English.
There are 2 dry cleaners in this country. Okay? One dry cleaner, if you go into, your clothes come with the smell of secularism. And the other dry cleaner,
you don't come out with clothes.
You come out with clothes, but your clothes smell of honesty. Non-corruption.
This conversation is going to go down in history.
Well, let me give you
as the most logical debate on why Modi should come back in 2024.
Let me give you an answer to that.
Remember this podcast.
Namaste, Jai Hind, another edition of ANI Podcast with Smita Prakash. Hope you're geared up for some amazing conversation today. My guests today are those who appeared in episode 28, the New Year's Eve episode. Many of you have written in asking me to invite them again. Why? Because of the amazing conversation, the sparkling wit, the humor, but sharp take on affairs both national and international. So here they are today. Sushant Sareen, Anand Ranganathan, Abhijit Iyer Mitra and Tehseen Poonawala. Those familiar with the podcast already know my guests. For those who don't, be ready to be blown out of your minds. Sushant Sareen of the Observer Research Foundation is a security expert. He knows Pakistan like the back of his hand. But not just that, he has a deep insight into security matters. So we will do a deep dive into the Khalistan problem with Sushant. Dr. Anand Ranganathan is a scientist and an author. He has a new book out on Hindus. Anand is on TV on weekdays with his sharp take on politics and more. So today, Anand spars with Tehseen Poonawala, who's a Congress loyalist, speaks favorably for the Gandhi family and has friends across the political divide. Tehseen's views are respected by all our guests today, including the quirky Abhijit. Love him, hate him, you just can't ignore Abhijit. Defense expert and social media maven who has an opinion on everything, especially food and fashion. Abhijit will add volatility to the conversation today. So today we also have some amazing food which is going to be served during the podcast. You know, food for thought. So those of you who are listening in and not watching this, you might be disturbed a little bit by the munching noises that you hear. So here we have amazing food set out for our guest today. There's samosa to sushi, salad to avocado toast, chips with hummus, flavored popcorns, pita and pakoras. Since we are speaking about Khalistan, we also have timbits. So for our listeners on audio platforms, you'll get to hear some chewing and chipping which goes on during the free-flowing conversations. Thanks guys for coming in. So looking forward to this really amazing conversation. But before we begin...
This is the monsoon session of...
Monsoon session.
And you are the speaker.
दाल चौकड़ी कितने चौकड़ी 5 है हम लोग
5 है ना
5 है तो फिर
speaker होना जी बाकी तो चंडाल
So this is the new parliament we've entered?
Yes.
Because I thought the old one is... the new one has more food.
ये Sengol का
But you know, I'm very disturbed by the level of toxic masculinity in this room.
Why? Because Tehseen has come with this
showing
cleavage.
his
Yeah, but you know, also these two, I mean, look at this Punju, bouncer, like bouncer uncle at, you know, at a Gurgaon,
but he's very
beating up the guests.
Beating up the
no,
guests.
he's cheated. He was supposed to come as Ilan Omar.
Yeah, why aren't you dressed as Ilan?
My tailor didn't get it right, yeah. So that dress ended up looking horrible.
Even Ilan's tailor doesn't get it right. Make no mistake.
So I commissioned.
But how can the tailor go so wrong on suicide belt?
That's true.
See, I showed him what a suicide belt looks like to make that, plus that red flowing dress.
उसने जानबूझ के नहीं बनाया होगा.
अरे नहीं यार, उसको
One second, that's a curtain.
It was a
curtain down there.
कितनी बनाई है तुमने?
So I went to Lajpat Nagar and chose curtain fabric because that's what Ilhan Omar wears. Okay.
Yeah.
Ilan Jagdish.
That's exactly
You went to
Jagdish.
Jagdish. You went to Jagdish.
ये मरवाएगा.
सुनो हमारी अमेरिकन वीजा रिजेक्ट होने वाली है.
अरे कुछ नहीं, but he stitched it so badly.
NI की नहीं, हमको वीजा नहीं मिलना.
So that's exactly how Ilan Omar dresses. It's stitched badly.
No, she fits it very well.
I'm sorry, it's hard to even look at it. Shaved your chest. I mean,
I always have my sheaf chest. I'm a metrosexual man.
See, at least he's in touch with his feminine side. What's your excuse and your excuse?
They aren't.
I
These
think
two are toxic.
They don't have
These
a
two-
feminine side.
these
for
two-
heaven's
these
sake.
two-
And
these
see,
two
you
are
have a certain
dipping with this.
masculine side which you're not in touch with. So I'll tell you what. For the
That's
rest of
this
this
is outrageous.
podcast,
I object to this.
Okay. For the rest of this podcast, he will be referred to as Angela. She will be referred to as Suzanne.
Shanti. Suzanne. Okay.
And you will be referred to as Sumit.
बिल्कुल नहीं.
No,
Nonsense.
by the way, Sumit is my executive
I don't
assistant.
like
So
Sumit.
Sumit.
By the way, Sumit is my executive
Gee,
assistant.
that sounds
So
like
she's-
Smita gone wrong.
She's
Yeah, I agree.
Tehsina.
Sumit
No.
Tehmina.
Hasina.
Te Hasina.
Hasina.
Te Hasina.
हाँ ते हसीना
ते हसीना।
सुमित
अच्छा चल रहे हैं.
Angela and Suzanne.
And you are Ilan.
Anand start
Anand.
yeah.
So can Hasina and Ilan?
No, you don't. Please don't start.
How cool is
my
Hasina and
God.
Ilan?
No hitting on each other right now.
Ilan.
Can we just start in a
Behave
very
yourself.
decent
You are
note?
girls, all of us.
So homophobic.
Girls, behave yourself.
Hasina and Ilan, what is your problem?
My problem is ये कुछ बहुत देर से he wants to say
What do you want to
something.
apologize for? Please tell me.
Apologize नहीं यार.
Sorry, clarify.
I want to clarify, Amrita, कि मैं हिंदी में बोलूं or should I speak in English?
Whatever you're comfortable.
Speak in Tamil
क्योंकि मैं
also.
अभी बड़ी प्रॉब्लम में फंस गया हूँ.
Speak in Tamil also, we have subtitles.
But
now.
Whichever
Punjabi and
language ensures that your problem
Is solved.
Is solved.
Yeah. No, I'll tell you.
We'll put the
little better.
creepy
Subtitles.
crawly
I did do it in
subtitles.
Hindi because it was the Hindi bit which was.
Hindi.
No. So I went on this beer and biceps thing.
Beer biceps.
Beer biceps.
Ranveer Alabadi.
Ranveer Alabadi. And so he was, it's a 2-hour long podcast and, freewheeling conversation. And he says, look, in my circle, when I talk to my Muslim and Christian, friends, they feel Modi and Yogi are very anti-Muslim, anti-Christian and all that stuff. So I said, look, all that is rubbish. Modi as a prime minister has done more for the Muslims than for Hindus. And I gave him facts. And this is nothing new. I've been saying this for 2 years.
On TV channels.
Yes. In fact, the first time I said it, this guy had tweeted saying that should people really know whether Modi has actually done more for Muslims, what would... So I said the same thing and I quoted a BJP leader politician whom I talked to because I used to get really angry when, India is demeaned. Whenever you say कि India में Hindu nationalists Muslims को मार रहे हैं, Christians को मार रहे हैं, all this, I feel bad here because India is being demeaned. India is being portrayed as a place where minorities are under threat and lynched and all that stuff. So I very irately I talked to this guy. I said, why don't you bloody correct this fake propaganda that Modi is against Muslim? Modi has done more for Muslims than for Hindus. So he said, look, this Hindus shouldn't know. He said it very playfully in a very, that fashion quip that, that Modi has actually done more for Muslims than this thing because our core constituency is that. And he said, "Aankh lagi rehni chahiye."
Aankh.
So what he meant was,
eyes.
I should be shut.
They should keep sleeping on this.
Aankh Lagna
Eyes
is
Wide Shut was a Tom
Lagna
Cruise
is-
movie.
No, Aankh Lagna is a
It wasn't
muhavra.
Aankh lagi rehni chahiye. And this is what I said. And then next thing I know is people are writing articles on aag lagi rehni chahiye. So please,
Let the fire keep burning.
Let the fire. So
Okay.
Up to, if you keep
So a
pronouncing
Tamilian-
it wrong,
Yeah.
keep saying ark.
See,
So
this
what
is
is a-
this
how
is
is
a
a Tamilian
problem
pronounce
with a
aankh?
Madrasi speaking Hindi.
Look, Chennai speaking.
Aankh
Chennai
or
speaking.
aag.
So
It's not
another
aankh.
Tamilian is
It's
correcting a Tamilian just
So
for the
neither
record.
of you are Tamils.
Yeah.
You're both Punjabis.
How am I Punjabi?
What anybody
You
who
are the-
lives in Delhi is a Punjabi.
That's true. I agree with that. I agree with
End of
that.
the story. Either you are a Punjabi or you are a wannabe Punjabi.
No,
Because
I'm neither.
you aspire to be one.
No, I don't.
Look
He
at the
aspires to be
bling in
Ilan.
your life. The bling in your life is so Punjabi.
No, how is it Punjabi?
What else is it here?
What's
So
blingy
his
about
bling
it?
is fake Louis Vuitton
Yeah.
and Mount Blanc. With a
He is such a big Punjabi. He
Channel.
even bought a BMW.
Channel.
He even bought a
Channel.
BMW because he's such a big Punjabi.
That's
Only
true.
Panjus buy BMWs. Who else buys the BMW?
No, who says that?
But I also
Punjus
drive a
only buy
BMW.
Audis. Audi.
Audi and Mercedes.
Sadda Audi.
So anyway, just to
Sadda
finish
Audi
that,
or Sadda Mari Sadi Bhans.
just to finish
Aye,
that,
aye.
guys, I clarify now.
Okay.
That it is aankh lagi not aag lagi rehni chahiye. Put issue should be
Okay,
kept
but
on the
let me
bottom.
ask
But it was a very nice podcast.
Yeah.
He,
I
Anand
think
spoke
it's
very nicely. Avijit has gone on that podcast too,
Yeah.
and spoke about various issues and simplified. अरे पहले तो congratulations, किताब निकली आपकी.
Thank you. It's
So,
coming out next
that's
week.
also-
Congratulations.
What was the release date? Today?
No, next month. Next coming on.
हाँ.
We'll have a little launch for you in Pune and Mumbai. That I'll do.
Thank you.
But that's also aankh wali topic.
So
फिर से Hindu.
Should I speak in English or Hindi? I won't speak. In Tamil or English, I can.
You speak Tamil, we'll put subtitles.
Speak Tamil.
We'll put subtitles down.
Or you can speak in Punjabi.
Just don't ask 30 seconds more, 30 seconds more, 30 seconds more.
Let's get to the Punjabi in the room, which is that Ro Khanna wali baat. You both love him. Sushant
He
and
loves him. He was almost about to destroy his
completely ripped him apart. He's looking for you actually. He's
Every time the guy would come up with some clarification, he would go and dig up the archives and come up with counter clarification.
Did you see his latest tweet on the Khalistan thing?
Listen, but Smita, that is exactly the problem. You know, this kind of equivocation which many of these guys do, that no, this is wrong, but this is also allowed. Would they allow this kind of stuff in their own countries against their people? You know, they would never allow this kind of nonsense.
Killing diplomats, can you believe it? And America needs to crack down on this nonsense.
Threatening diplomats, basically painting a target on their back.
Yeah.
And
making the details public.
Again, this I was telling somebody, I said, this is a modus operandi of the Pakistanis.
Exactly.
They used to do it with the Americans
Yeah.
in Pakistan when they would, give the names and the pictures of the CIA and other American officials and paint a target on their back.
True.
This is exactly what the Khalistanis have done. And for the Americans and for the Brits and for the Canadians, and the Canadians are particularly, bad on this.
Thank you so much.
I don't know. They keep saying it's not acceptable, but clearly it is.
But why
is it dangerous?
Why is
It's very dangerous.
Why is Khalistan always portrayed as Indian Punjab when it's the Pakistanis asking it? Why can't they have some part of Pakistan?
Because the Pakistanis are funding most of these guys.
Right.
And the thing is that the base was always made into Pakistan.
True.
To carry out their operations and carry out their activities. A lot of recruitment has taken place from inside Pakistan. Whenever the Jathas go out there for religious pilgrimages, there is invariably, there are the Pakistanis will incite them. They will call Khalistanis. There will be speeches organized by Khalistanis. There will be all kinds of other shenanigans which these guys do. And so the moment these guys start saying that actually Lahore is going to be our capital,
right,
they lose patronage, won't they? So
you
clearly.
remember during the Kashmir insurgency, Sikhs were never attacked in Kashmir except that one massacre. That was
Bill Clinton.
Chitty Singhpura, yeah.
Singhpura.
And that was a tactical mistake.
That was
Their strategy
false flag
was
or something,
to keep,
God knows what.
was to keep two insurgencies running at the same time.
The Sikh insurgency and the
Kashmir insurgency running at the same time. Now remember, in those days the Sikh community wasn't very rich.
Right.
They go off to Canada and America and things like that and make lots of the money. And now they are telling like the Pakistan ki you do the fighting, we'll do the paying.
Right. And Pakistan needs the money anyhow.
Pakistan desperately needs the money.
It's a hitman available on hire all the time.
Exactly.
Except it's a third grade hitman.
Well, I mean,
why isn't the NSA or the government acting more tough? I mean, they haven't summoned the Canadian ambassador.
They have summoned
Why
the
hasn't
ambassador.
Rahul Gandhi said anything about this?
जिस दिन वो प्रधानमंत्री बनेगा उससे भी सवाल पूछेगा. Why hasn't Rahul Gandhi said मतलब ये
Prime Minister गलत बात है.
ये गलत है नहीं.
Manish Tiwari talked about it, right?
तो कांग्रेस का ही ना
His father was killed.
And his father was killed, professor.
So why can't Rahul Gandhi talk
He
about
should
it?
and he has.
When has he?
He's spoken quite a bit.
He
said
hasn't.
that he has.
Not once.
No, Manish Tiwari lost his father to
And
terrorism.
Rahul lost
so,
his grandmother to
Sikh.
to Sikh.
Yes, yeah.
Which
so
is
all
why
the more
him not
reason
opening
he
his
should,
mouth
he should
is
speak
even
up.
more.
And even now, the Gandhis are absolutely the ones who are the most popular amongst the national leaders in Punjab. Even more popular than the Prime Minister is the Gandhis.
Or maybe that's why they're on the hit list or something like
They
that.
are.
So but I just want to read out the tweet of this Ro Khanna. He says, I know Ambassador Sandhu and respect him. When I bring up human rights issues, he always engages with civility, thoughtfulness and candor. This rhetoric puts diplomats in harm's way. It's dangerous and has no place in democracy. Free speech does not mean license to incite violence. Zarurat kya hai to give this apology in that
You
tweet?
just condemn it
Condemn it
single-handedly.
outrightly.
That's true.
Yeah.
And the problem is that this is the kind of virtue signaling that this guy is doing.
Huh.
That I always talk about human rights also,
Yeah.
and by extension, trying to bring up that there are egregious violations of human rights in India. And it's not as though I'm turning a blind eye to it just because I organized the Modi this thing or I was one of the
He
leaders.
needs a double dose of Abhijit. Pronto.
So we need to unleash him once again.
Once more. You almost ended his career.
Tell me something. Wasn't he pleading with somebody?
Yeah.
He was.
Let loose the dogs of war.
Wasn't he pleading with somebody
Bring out
that
the
please
gimp.
ask this guy to keep
But I
quiet or
don't
something?
you know,
Yeah.
that if this guy goes against
So
me
he's
ever-
asked a lot of people to ask me to shut up silently on the side, but whatever.
But it's not just him, right? I mean, there are a whole bunch of people who do this. When it comes to Khalistan, they are either so terrified that, you know, they live in... You're actually eating samosa with chopsticks.
Yeah, I love it. I don't like my hands getting dirty.
Bichara Xi Jinping jo hai, wo so-
I don't like to make my hand dirty. I'll eat it with a fork.
Yeah, you want a fork here?
I'll eat it with a fork. Thank you.
You know, there's a Chinese song that's come out, which is meant to be Chinese Bollywood. It's called Tian Shu Girl, Tienxu,
Oh,
Tian
it's
Shu
for
Girl,
folks,
and
Shashank.
it's the Chinese version of Bollywood music.
Okay.
Okay.
It's fantastic.
Is it like chicken 65 and chicken Manchurian?
Yeah, kind of. What we did to that chicken Manchurian, Tian Shu Girl did too.
South Indian. Hyderabadi. But the chicken Manchurian, the
Or
chili
is it
chicken.
inspired by the Chinese food?
It is inspired by Chinese food.
Chicken
65 is in all Chinese restaurants.
No. Chicken 65 is not.
Chicken
it's-
65 is
it's
totally Indian Chinese.
No.
That's
It
true.
originates from something called Arcot chicken.
Correct.
And I know this because in Arcot we used to get it before Chicken 65.
Oh,
became
please.
famous.
Just to
Now
clarify,
you
I'm
make
the
our
only
Tamilian.
vegetarian here.
He's making it Tamil.
Everyone
please,
else. No, actually, Abhi also after his Kerala.
Please, it's not just chicken 65, it's paneer 65,
Yeah.
gobi 65,
That's
like
true.
gobi
Abhi,
Manchurian.
are you a vegetarian now?
There's paneer Manchurian.
So we have two vegetarians.
There's paneer Manchurian. Are you still vegetarian? You're breaking my heart. Why?
He's lost 15 kilos, yeah.
Yeah,
No wonder you're
amazing
looking
weight
so-
loss
no
journey.
wonder you're looking so
Yeah.
nice.
Tell us about it.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
So thank you. So you know,
There's a
it's-
glow
So why
on
were
your
you,
face,
so why
by
were
the
you
way.
WhatsApping me that you, where am I having brunch and you'll come there and all when you were eating vegetarian food?
Sally,
have had
vegetarian
vegetarian
brunch,
brunch.
dosa idli to mil hi jayega na.
वो सारा मिल जाएगा but
He's going back to the
So
basics.
you know, it was actually fantastic. This place.
Non-vegetarians have a butt.
Because they were very strict. You know, you can't bring leather in, you can't bring anything dead in, whatever.
Correct.
They do a full, and you might want to lose certain things, but they want you to lose certain other things. So imagine losing 12 kilos in the space of 14 days and then keeping it on because they change the complete metabolism and
It's like
clean
a
your insides
Punjabi
out.
losing her infant on the airport, yeah. 12 kilos.